Hello, hello, hello. Who is ready for the British Grand Prix? Let's go. Afternoon, everyone. I've seen the chat has been very, very busy in the hours coming up to this live stream. Probably one of the most hotly anticipated races, I think, in a long time. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Aynaz, Prism, Anella, Daisy, Rue, Zap. Good to see you all. And many others of you as well who I have seen being very active in the chat in the lead up to this race. Woo. Who's ready for, no doubt, is going to be a very, very dramatic British Grand Prix, eh? I missed the F3 race. No, I was doing some food shopping, some important food shopping. So I missed the F3 race. I caught the end of the F2, which was pretty cool. So, but yeah, we'll have a rain update shortly, guys. I will let you know that it is raining at this very moment in time. So yeah, it has just started raining in the pit lane. I have got that feedback from people who are at the circuit and from the TV coverage as well. How heavy it is, I don't know. But I think we're going to have an intermittent race, or weather-wise. And I do have a weather report today. So I'm multitasking. I'm not only streaming, presenting, commentating, I'm also adding weatherman to my CV today, guys. So we'll have a weather report for you of the Silverstone Grand Prix, of Silverstone area to see what we can expect for this race. But yeah, big thank you to everyone tuning in. Looks like everyone's excited. Silverstone, it creates a buzz, regardless if there's any Brits involved or not. It always creates such a buzz, doesn't it? Because it's such a great racing circuit. Yes, it's actually been 945 days since Lewis Hamilton last won a race. Could that change today? The last race he won was back in the penultimate race of the 2021 season, which was the Saudi race. Was that the penultimate race? It was, wasn't it, back then, I think? I think Saudi was the last race in 2021. Whichever there was the penultimate race in 2021, that was when he last won. So, hey, Rudy. Hello from Indonesia. Go, Lewis Neo. Yeah. I can attest to that, Goonie, because I live in the London area myself, and yes, it's come over very dark. We've had lightning, thunder, so yeah, the typical British weather. I put a hoodie on earlier on today. It's the middle of July, and I'm still wearing hoodies and tracksuits, like. But yeah, hope everyone's having a good day. Good to see you, Chris. Good to see you, Jimmy. Yeah, welcome, welcome. Is Silverstone near London? No, Chazza. So Silverstone is right in the middle of Milton Keynes. So that's the Midlands of the UK. And 7 of the 10 F1 teams, what's commonly referred to and commonly known as Motorsport Valley, are based around Silverstone. So Aston Martin actually have their factory, and they've just recently built it and improved it, right next to Silverstone Circuit. So yeah, it's the heartland of Formula 1. Of course, UK has rich history with motorsport anyway, and there is also the element of just access across the world. But Europe is central, of course, easy to get over to America, easy to get over to Asia and stuff. So, yeah, that's how they do things. When I think about F1, I think about Silverstone. It's just iconic. Yeah, I think a lot of there's those historic tracks where I think a lot of people, their mind instantly goes to. 7 times 135 days. 35. This was 945 days ago. Hey, Q Storm. Hello from Texas. Waiting for Hurricane Beryl to hit you. What, in Texas? You've got a hurricane coming over in Texas. Wow. Stay safe, buddy. Stay safe. Lewis to win with GR to Cookies Tyres as usual. Well. As is customary on this channel, guys, we are going to have a look at the strategy options. If it is a dry race, of course, if it's a wet race, strategy can be thrown out of the window because who knows what's going to happen. We've seen races in the support races, F2, F3, be rained off. We've seen them go from wet to dry, dry to wet. So yeah, who knows what we've got in store for us today. I'm still waiting for the TV coverage to get back onto circuit to see exactly how hard it is raining right now. Drivers will be making their way round to their grid slots very soon, or maybe even doing so right now. So we'll see what tyres they've made their way round onto. But yeah, I've got a feeling this is going to be a wet start to a dry race. There's going to be a crossover period, and that throws strategy completely out the window. But look, we'll have a look nonetheless at what tyre allocations drivers have remaining in dry conditions and what they are able to use. So yeah, we'll have a look at that shortly, and we'll have a look at the weather report for Silverstone, because that's going to be a key factor here today. To see exactly what is occurring with that weather. And yeah, the teams will be definitely looking hard at their radars, that's for sure. Is Logie Bear getting a contract extension? No. So the rumour I saw late last night is that Esteban Ocon may be going to Williams for the rest of the season, because he's already on his way out of Alpine. Who knows who will replace him at Alpine for the rest of the season. So Carlos Sainz, as we discussed in yesterday's stream, seems like he might still have an opportunity at the Mercedes seat. That's why he's stalling. Supposedly, he was all confirmed a few weeks ago he was going to sign and announce that he signed for Williams. But yeah, I think Toto Wolff has come back at him and said, no, we're not going to put Antonelli in just yet. We still might bring you on board, Carlos, at least for a year. Jeremy, thank you for the sub, buddy. So, yeah. The driver market is still very much up in the air, guys. Surely for Jack Doohan, I think that would be a smart decision, especially for Alpine, because what better way to see if he's ready? There's very few times in F1 that you're able to kind of test the driver out in racing conditions, of course, and for him to come in and do potentially the rest of the season, 10 races, I think it will be. So it's nearly half of the season. That's a good kind of benchmark to see, okay, do we want to sign Jack, or do we want to seek someone else who's a bit more experienced? So, yeah, but I tell you, silly season, that the 4-week break we have in the middle of the season is going to be interesting this year. Williams trying their best to remain at the back of the grid. No, Ocon to Haas confirmed in summer after Belgium. I think he's signed a contract with Haas. But there's nothing to say that they might not sign Ocon for the interim. They could still, because Ocon's contract doesn't start with Haas until 2025 or the end of the season. So they could still sign Ocon on a temporary contract until they determine what they want to do with their own driver lineup. So, but 40 minutes to the start. Yeah, Taco, James, good to see you today. I've got a feeling it's going to be a busy one today. Lots of hype surrounding this race. I need you guys on top form, so thank you, mods, as always. But and sub and memberships as well. If you haven't subbed to this channel yet, I can see that subscriber count is going up in the top right hand corner of my screen. So big thank you, guys. So let's see if we can get to 27,000 today. Yeah, that'd be absolutely amazing. Keep continuing and growing this great community we got here. And Marlin, hey, good to see you, buddy. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you for a while, man. Good to see you again. You really want to see the F1 teaser? Yeah, I think that's occurring later on, isn't it? The F1 movie. So drivers are out on circuit from what I'm seeing as they're heading their way round to the grid slots. And I think I saw some intermediate tyres. Yes, so George Russell on the intermediate tyres as he makes his way round to his grid slot. Is there anyone on the slicks? Let's just see. It seems like it's not raining at this moment in time. But the amount of rain that we might have just had drop down on circuit might be enough. So everyone's out on the intermediates, guys, making their way round to the grid slots. So it's more so, it looks more greasy, the track surface at the moment. It's not really wet. It's stopped raining by the looks of it. Of course, they all want to make it round to their grid slots safely. There's no need to take any risks right now. They have sufficient intermediates and wet tyres to get them through this race today. So, yeah, doing a couple of outlaps on the intermediates just to see how the track conditions are it is quite a smart decision, to be fair. No risk to be taken right now. Thank you for the subs coming in, Sharon. Welcome, welcome. Perez and Ricciardo swap. Potentially, supposedly, from what I saw in an article earlier, Liam Lawson is going to be testing this week in the RB20. Similar to what Daniel Ricciardo did last year. And then he got, obviously, bumped up to AlphaTauri. Or the AlphaTauri team back then. Liam Lawson is doing the same. So there could be some switches happening in the summer, who knows, in that Red Bull team. Highly rumoured that Ricciardo's going to be replaced by Lawson for the remainder of the season. Could it be for Perez? Who knows? George Russell saying there's no standing water, but the track feels very slippery, quite strange. So yeah, it's a greasy surface right now with the sprinkling dash of rain that we've had on the circuit. So yeah, that is... it looks dry, but it's greasy. So I reckon it'll be the sun's out. I think it'll be a dry start, potentially with rain coming up in the future. Don't know what the track temp is just yet. The data hasn't gone live, but we have enough of you in here. We have enough of you in here to have a look at the strategy for today, if it's a dry race. So let's pretend it could be, and it will be. So let's have a look at those. Here we are, guys. Here we are. So, these are the strategies as suggested by Pirelli today. And, intriguingly, it is stating it is a one-stop race. A soft compound tyre to a medium and a soft to a hard. I think the soft to the medium is a bit of a stretch, personally. I don't think the medium and the softs will last that long. I think it's more so the soft to the hards, or the medium to the hards. That's what I think. I think probably medium to hard is probably the sensible option. We'll see if anyone starts on the soft compound tyre. If they're predicting rain, it wouldn't surprise me if we see the soft compound tyre used first to get that extra grip and to go as quick as possible and build up a bit of a gap for when that rain eventually arrives. But yeah, pretty kind of standard Brown Silverstone. I think it's only ever really a two-stopper if the track temperatures are really high and really hot, but of course we're not getting that here today with the weather conditions. It'll be no doubt quite cool. Hey Joanna, yeah, good to see you. Do I think Lando can win today? Potentially. I've seen some data analysis from qualifying yesterday, and it does look like that McLaren's a little bit slower it looks a little bit slower. They're running maybe a bit more wing than the Mercedes. The Mercedes genuinely are there on pace, but of course race pace is completely different. Maybe McLaren have made some setup changes, maybe predicting that it was going to be a wet weather race. This is the thing that drivers and teams had to make a conscious decision on, is do they want to set up for a wet weather race? So that means more downforce, more stability, but overall be slower in dry conditions, or do they want to take the risk of let's go for the dry condition, let's go for the dry setup, but then of course you're going to be really struggling in the wet weather conditions. Maybe that's what McLaren have done, and maybe we'll see them slow in dry conditions but really come into their own in the weather conditions. I think this is going to be a race where we really need to keep an eye out on the weather today and keep an eye out on the strategies as well. Garnacho. I'm interested. I have to look into that. I was thinking medium to soft, but who knows? I think the hard tyre is a tyre of choice today in some capacity, whether you run the soft to the hard or you run the medium to the hard. I just don't think, because Silverstone's such a high loaded circuit, it's a very high energy, very fast, swooping corners, obviously lots of downforce required as well at the same time. Copse corner, Maggots and Beckett, Stowe, leaning on that left-hand tyre so much, front left tyre. So yeah, that's why we're using the C1, C2 and C3. So not quite the hardest compound tyre that's available. C0 is the hardest compound, but one step up from that. So yeah, I still don't see the C3 being... I don't see it lasting that long, but of course the weather may come into effect here and make teams use it to get ahead as much as possible at the start. So is there a chance Verstappen can win? There is a very, very good chance Verstappen could win. His floor damaged in qualifying yesterday, guys, through his trip for the gravel at Copse Corner, where his teammate, of course, Perez, lost control of the car and beached himself, not getting out of Q1. Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, a few others as well, had the same wobble through there, but saved it and went through. But yeah, Verstappen chipped his chipped his floor, the underside of his floor, quite severely with the gravel, and that's why he was down on performance and wasn't able to fight for pole position. But 4th place is still a very good place to start, and with a Red Bull that is still very quick, we'll see. He won in 2020 from 4th position, so he could do that again today. But of course, if you're a Brit, you'll most likely be hoping for a British win in the form of either Lando, George or Lewis. So yeah, so they replaced the floor. They had the same spec. It's a brand new spec. They had that available, and they've put that on the car overnight. But yes, that is the strategies, guys. Not really too much to discuss there. I don't think this is really going to come into play today. I think we're going to get wet weather at some point, and we're going to see the intermediates used. So yeah, it's more intriguing in what the teams decide to start on. I think we might see the soft tyre used by a lot of teams because of that potential incumbent weather. But let's see. And here are the tyre allocations. So apologies, the picture isn't a little bit clearer. But we have here, you can see Verstappen, everyone in the top 8, apart from Piastri, Norris, have one brand new set of hards and one brand new set of mediums. Piastri and Norris have 2 brand new sets. Leclerc, of course, starting in 11th place today, has 2 brand new sets of tyres available because he didn't use them. So drivers have come back into the pit lane, and they are actually out on circuit on their outlap on slick tyres. Lewis Hamilton is on the soft tyre, so the track is drying up very quickly, and it will be a dry start, that is for sure. So that bit of wet weather that we had come through just before the drivers were heading out of the pit lane for their sighting laps was not sufficient to properly wet the circuit or make it wet conditions. So yeah, and then everyone else has kind of got the same. They've all got one brand new set of hards, at least minimum one brand new set of mediums, and you can see Lewis, Russell don't have a brand new set of softs available. Neither does Verstappen. Perez has 4, of course, because he didn't get through to Q2 yesterday, and Perez has also had a power unit change, guys, so he will be starting from the pit lane. He has broken part Ferme rules, and he will be starting from the pit lane. I believe he will be starting from the pit lane anyway. I think so. But he's taken a brand new power unit. So Perez, of course, at a circuit like this, will be hoping to. I would still expect Perez in that Red Bull with a brand new power unit to score points today. However, it is Perez we're talking about, guys. So I apologise, Perez fans, but yes, they haven't started yet. No, they're just doing their sighting laps round to the grid slot positions. So race starts on the hour, guys. We have just under 30 minutes until the race gets underway, or the formation lap gets underway. So welcome. Over 1,000 of you in here for this stream already. And we've still got half an hour left. This is the hype of the British Grand Prix. So, that is the tyre allocations. Is what it is. I don't think this is going to play too much into a factor today. But let's have a look at the weather. And here is the weather report today for Silverstone. It is light rain with showers and a gentle breeze, guys. You can see here the race starts at 3 o'clock, 17 degrees air temperature, 50% chance that the coverage of Silverstone, the area coverage, receives rain. And then look, it slightly increases throughout. So who knows? If we head down just a little bit to this area, this is where Silverstone is. Unfortunately, it's not kind of hour per hour, but if I skip on slightly, that goes past. So yeah, anything could happen. That's 4 o'clock, and there is a patch right over, kind of heading its way over Silverstone. So yeah, we could get some rain around halfway through this race. So let's see. Oh, I'm just watching the F1 teaser trailer. Oh, the F1 teaser trailer is being played on Sky right now. Sorry, guys. It looks good. Oh, they're playing Queen, We Will Rock You. The onboard camera shots look good. They got shots at Monza, Hungaroring already, Silverstone. They must have uploaded it to YouTube, yeah. I'm not going to do a live reaction to it right this second because knowing F1, they're very, very hot on copyright. So no doubt, I'm sure some reaction channels will react to it. I will try and react to this in full if I can. I'm ignoring it now. I'm not listening to it. I'm not watching it. I just saw half of it and it looks really good. It's quite an in-depth teaser, actually. There's a lot more footage there than I thought there was. It's not coming out until next year, and they're still filming now. But yeah, interesting. But yeah, no worries, James. Enjoy, buddy. Enjoy it. Loving the smaller cars in the trailer. Yeah. 12 out of 24 races this year. I know. We're already halfway through this year. Wow. Where's that time gone? Where's that time gone? Cinema date next year. Let's do it, George. Let's do it. I'll see if some of the guys can get. Well, I'm sure premiere tickets will be. Everyone will be wanting to get premiere tickets. I'm not that well known yet, guys, to be able to get premiere tickets. Who knows? But yeah, why don't take us on to start the race because it doesn't start until on the hour, Patrick. But yes, this is the weather report, guys. It is at the moment indicating that there is potential of showers throughout the race. So. I think we're in for a very intriguing one. We're in for an intriguing one, that is for sure. But the strategy is a one-stop if it stays drier. And then, of course, the tyre allocations are... everyone has at least a hard tyre and one medium tyre available to use. So not really going to be too much in differentiation of pit strategy today. It's all going to be about rain. It's all going to be about rain today. So, who am I rooting for, Jensen? Well, I've got a root for Lewis. I have got a root for Lewis. I'm also hoping that at least a Brit, yes, British bias, I'm hoping at least a Brit wins the home British Grand Prix today. That is what I'm hoping for. It'd be great to see Lewis, of course, but if it's not Lewis, it'd be great to see Russell or Lando win it as well for the home fans. So... F1 movie tape. Yeah, well, I just saw it on Sky. I'm not going to do a live reaction now. I'll see if I can record it separately. F1's very hot on copyright, so no doubt it might be a bit difficult to get a reaction to it, but I'll try. Watch Albon wins. Yeah, he's not quite there. But yeah, that's it, guys, for the strategy and the weather report for today. So, one-stop race. Everyone has a few tyres available to them. And, well, it's going to be potentially a wet race halfway throughout the race. So as the indicator is here, 4 o'clock, race starts at 3. This little patch of rain could be coming through. But the weather, the wind is very high through Silverstone area. This could change on a dime. So yeah, let's see. Am I British from the USA? No, I'm yeah, English born and bred, yeah, just outside London. Not me watching on TV and using phone for the comments. That's what it's all about, Kristin. We've built a great community here, and it's about experiencing F1 together. This is what these watch-alongs do, and that's why I love doing them as well. It's what I get to interact with you. So, you wish Lando wins. Yeah, so at the moment, let's have a look at the polls. So I've run a poll, of course, who will win the British Grand Prix? And as it currently stands... Lewis Hamilton has 35% of the vote with just under 1,500 votes cast. And, well, George Russell has 13% on pole position today. Not many of you are too keen on George. Norris and Verstappen both equal in second place at the moment in 26%. They are, of course, on the second row, lining up alongside each other. So we'll see what they can provide. Lewis overdue a win. He definitely is. Andy, he definitely is. He is 945 days now since his last win. I decided to look that up before today just to see exactly how it was, because this is the closest opportunity since Brazil in 2022 that he has had at a race win. So, yeah, let's see what this race has in store for us. Can one Aston Martin car make it into the top 5? I think they'd need incidents. They'd need incidents and some help to make it into the top 5, Ray. I don't suspect so. Was Vodafone such a big player in the EU? Oh, no idea. Honestly, George doesn't normally get much race pace, and he's a bit clumsy under pressure. Well, we'll see. Obviously, I'm always... Look, like Lando, the only way you learn is by putting yourself into these situations over and over again and learning from your mistakes. If you just need to keep doing that, and eventually it will click. So... But now they might cook up something. Yeah. Good to see you, Crown. Good to see you. Us Brits need it. Oh, look, we've had 2 British winners this year in the form of Lando Norris and George Russell. Look, it will be always great to see Lewis win a race, but look, I still don't have much hope with him being at Mercedes this year. If he gets it today, it's a bonus, but it's more so about next year at Ferrari for Lewis Hamilton. So, any good chance for Max or Lando to get a race lead into Turn 1? Not so much a lead into Turn 1, but they could lead down into Brooklands, which is at the end of the Wellington Straight. Look, P4, Max Verstappen won it from that position a few years ago. Remember, DRS is activated after 1 lap now. We don't have to wait 2 laps for that to be activated, so we get closer racing a lot sooner. There's 2 DRS zones at Silverstone, 1 down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands, and then 1 down the Hangar Straight into Stowe. Both are very good overtaking opportunities, and yeah, if you're out up front, you'll be wanting to break that toe as quick as possible, which you can do at Silverstone, which you can do. Right, it looks like my data is ready to rock and roll, so let's set this up. Bosh, and we can get confirmation of the grid starting positions today. The only reason I won't download that, what are the confirmed lineup for next year? What, Mercedes? Not confirmed yet. Not confirmed. Right, here we go. Here we go. Martin Brundle's just doing his grid walk. He's interviewed Jeremy Clarkson. He's now interviewing Mr. Bean. Rowan Atkinson, very, very big Formula One fan, has a number of collections. He has a very large collection of cars. Big motorsport fan he is. Right. Want the sectors leaderboard. We want the race control, and we want the investigation tracker also. That is what we want. Right. Let's go. That trailer's too good. Yeah, well, I saw half of it. Oh dear, where's the chat box there? Let's move you guys back to here where you belong. Got a feeling we're going to need all of those tyre allocation things there today. There we go. There we go, guys. Ready to rock and roll. There we go. Ready to rock and roll. Bosh. Who's singing the anthem? Oh, what's her name? Is it Helen McDonagall? You know the TV series Ted Lasso. She I can't remember obviously who she plays, but she's got a singing pedigree apparently. So she does have. She's an actual singer, not like Damian Lewis last time out. So can't believe Rowan doesn't invest in a team. Maybe he's a silent investor. You never know. He might be a silent partner of. I would assume if he would be a partner of anyone, it'd be McLaren. He used to own the McLaren F1. You remember the 3-seater supercar that was like the fastest car in the world for years. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. He might be a silent partner. You never know. I've never actually seen it, Mike. You know. And my own football team is in it. It plays a big role in it, West Ham United. So I've seen clips, but I do need to sit down and watch it. I've heard very good things, So how many hours, sorry, till the race starts? Oh, you're not talking hours, you're talking minutes. We have minutes until the race starts. Just over 15 minutes until the formation lap gets underway. So confirmation here, guys, that Sergio Perez is starting from the pit lane. As I informed you guys earlier, he has taken a brand new power unit. So Sergio Perez will be hoping to move through the grid. Brian May is trying to interview Brian May, the guitarist of Queen, not wanting to be interviewed on the grid, so fair enough for him. But yeah, Perez starting from the pit lane. Of course, Gasly starting down the bottom of the grid there. He's got a power unit. He's on his 5th power unit or something for this season already. We're only halfway through. And yeah, that's a lot of power units. So he's starting from the back of the grid. And then Esteban Ocon as well, starting just in front of him as well. Alpines are on a roll at the moment where they've scored in the last 5 races, I think it is. I think Gasly, at least, it hasn't been outside of the points placed positions since before Monaco. So he's on a good run of form, but today he'll have a lot to do for him. But Logan Sargent, you Logie Better fans, Sargent is starting in 12th position. Let's see how long it takes for him to be down in 20th. I'm sorry I said it, you Logie Bear fans. I'm sorry, but I'm just realistic, okay? I'm just realistic. What are the chances that Lawson will replace either Ricciardo or Perez? I think it's more likely that he'll replace Ricciardo, Mark, at the AlphaTauri team, or the Toro, whatever team it's called now, RB team. I think it's more likely he'll move there rather than step up to Perez. But, risk of rain, 60%. It was 60% for qualifying yesterday as well, bearing in mind, guys, and we only got a slight sprinkle. So, yeah, we'll see. Of course, the race goes on longer. So, let's see. 52 laps in total, a 2-hour time limit. Yeah, let's see if we get any rain. But it's definitely going to be a dry start as it currently stands. However, it is overcast. Looking at the TV coverage, it is definitely overcast at the Silverstone circuit. So, yeah, we could see showers and the intermediates. Picking the right time to come in and pit, I think, is going to be essential today. The race could be won or lost. Is the livery working for the Williams? Scott Cho, I didn't choose violence. It's going to be an interesting start to the race. I agree. Can we have something like Abu Dhabi 2020 between Norris and Verstappen? Or just last week? Just last week. Look, it was a great fight. But of course, we all know how it ended. Got to look out for Hulk. He did well in quali. Yes, however, I do expect him to maybe fall back a little bit. I think he'll get eaten up by Sainz. I think Leclerc's going to make good progress today as well. But Hulkenberg's doing a wonderful job in that Haas in qualifying. Has done since he came back into the team last year. So, all the way from the Seychelles. Welcome, Dave. Welcome. You accidentally timed someone out for 10 minutes. It's only 10 minutes, Marlin. Just apologise to the individual when you come back, when he's back or she's back. So, yeah. We make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Who's singing? We want Stuffeyy singing. No, you don't want to hear me singing. I love a good sing song, but trust me. Let's save all 1,300 of you your eardrums, okay? Max ends up DNF this time. I don't know. Oh, what a voice, by the way. Proper singer. What a national anthem she's singing right there. No, like, trying to put a spin on it. Just singing the national anthem how it's supposed to be sung. Well done. Well done. Merc are back where they belong. What are my predictions for top 5, guys? Well, my predictions. So, my heart wants Hamilton to win. But I'm still backing Lando. I've backed him from the start of this week, and I think Lando Norris is going to win this race today. I'm just sticking with my gut feeling that Lando Norris is going to win this race. However, my heart says wants Lewis Hamilton, and I think he's got a great opportunity. I still think there's just something in me that just still thinks that the Mercs are going to fall back, and that the McLarens are going to pull through. And it's still going to be a McLaren, 2 McLarens in the top 3 and Verstappen. And I just think the Mercs are going to fall back on race pace. I hope I'm wrong, but I've just got a feeling. But I'm sticking with Lando to win this race today. I still think it's going to be ultimately a Lando-Max Verstappen fight for the win. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's a lot closer than that. And there's more drivers in the fight for the win. But let's see. Hey, Bincy, good to see you, buddy. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, welcome. Over 1,300 of you here in the stream. The sub count keeps going up. The like count keeps going up. Can we get this stream to 500 likes before the race starts? Can we do that? I'd like 1,000, but I'm realistic. Yeah, 500 likes. It's got to be 200, just over 250 of you still yet to like this stream, if you can, please, guys. Much appreciated. It helps push the stream forward and keep building this great community that we've got here. Science Podium and Danny Points is what I'm hoping for today's race. Where is Danny starting? He's starting in 15th. Tall order for him. Alex Albon there in P9. Yeah. Gonna be an intriguing one. Rain. It's still not raining at Silverstone by the looks of it. It's definitely gonna be a dry start to this race. How long have we got until this race starts as well? It is currently 11 minutes, over 10 minutes until this race starts. You think Perez has a chance to be, eh? Well, I'll tell you what. When rain is involved, if you're starting from the back of the grid, that's what you want. Because there is an opportunity for you to make up a considerable amount of positions by safety cars, red flags, just timing the pit stop right, being on the right tyre at the right time. So Perez will be hoping for rain. Because it's the only, I think, realistically, it's the only opportunity that Perez has to overtake 10 cars to get into the points. So yeah, let's see what it has in store for Perez. He really needs to pull something out of the bag here and get himself into the points, because it's poor this weekend already, and there's already been enough talk about his contract renewal and how much he probably doesn't deserve that contract renewal, and of course the talk of there being performance clauses in his contract and stuff. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out on Perez today and see how much progress he makes, because history tells us he doesn't make a lot of progress when out of position, whereas other drivers do. Like Charles Leclerc today, I expect him to make quite a bit of progress and easily dispatch Alonso, Albon and Stroll and be fighting with his teammate, or at least pushing for that top 5. What time will it start? In just 10 minutes time. 10 minutes time. Perez changed motor. Yeah, he changed the PU, guys. He changed the PU. That's why he's starting from the pit lane. Right, guys. I need a quick loo break. Please hit that like and subscribe button. 1,500 of you in here before the race even begins. Let's get that stream. Let's get this stream up to 500 likes before the race begins. I just need a quick loo break so that I am full and ready to, no doubt, commentate and bring you guys what is going to be a cracking and dramatic Silverstone Grand Prix. British Grand Prix. I keep calling it the Silverstone Grand Prix, but the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. We never really get a boring race at Silverstone, and I don't think today is going to be... It's going to be boring by any means. So, 2 seconds, guys. 2 seconds. There we go. Ooh, very quick, very quick. I need to crack open the window as well. A bit hot. All gets a bit hot under the lights. That was a quick... No rest for the wicked, guys. No rest for the wicked. Well, right. Is Perez getting kicked out of Red Bull? Well, I'll tell you what, if he doesn't pull his finger out of a certain area of his body, he's one step closer. He's one step closer, that is for sure. So, that's a slow piss stuff. If it rains, Lewis for the win. If it stays dry, Lando for the win. Interesting, Brett. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think if it rains, you're going to see the cream rise to the top. But Lando's no slouch in the rain. My worry is that McLaren have set up the car for wet weather conditions, and that's why they were slightly slower yesterday. So I think they'll be hoping for it to rain, whereas maybe the likes of Mercedes aren't. Supposedly, that if you look at the comparison in lap times yesterday, I was watching Sky and Karun Chandhok. I think that's his pronounced his last name, but Karun. He was comparing the laps, and you saw the Ghost's car, so they were overlapping the laps. And George Russell definitely gains a lot more. He's got definitely running less rear wing, that's for sure. He's got more top speed than Lewis. I think Lewis has set up the car for a little bit more downforce, so that he is more suited for the wet weather conditions that we are predicted for today. So we'll see how that plays out. But we could see George Russell pull away from Lewis Hamilton in the field at the start, maybe. But then as the rain comes in. So, yeah, this race is definitely going to be in phases, that is for sure. Might be in for a corker race. I think so, Brett. I think so. Thank you, Marlin. Thank you. It's a 1,000-step march, though. Can you be a mod? Not yet, football. No, I only provide mods to guys who I know have been very supportive of this channel for a long time and have been long-time viewers, subscribers. So, yeah. I appreciate you wanting to be. If you continue to turn up to my live streams and support the content, then, yeah, I will do. But not right now. George with DRS could be a rocket compared to Lewis. Yes, Buzz. Yes, that is a potential. So I think a lot of the teams are running different setups. I think they may have gambled a bit on qualifying or sacrificed maybe a little bit out of qualifying for the race today. It was definitely a conscious decision that I think they would have had with their engineers and with their team. And yeah, maybe, of course, maybe I really thought we wouldn't see the Mercedes out on top, to be honest with you. I thought we'd only seen Mercedes on top in wet conditions, but it turns out we saw them on top in dry conditions. So maybe they've just got an all-round good car here this weekend at Silverstone. But I do think the McLaren might be set up more to wet weather conditions. Max's car, who knows what that's set up for. Max is going to be strong today. Don't rule him out whatsoever. And Oscar as well. Remember, Oscar got shafted yesterday by his own team. They left it way too late to get him out of the pit lane. And he was rushing around. He couldn't prep properly for his lap. And he was rushing around to get within the time limit to set a lap. So Oscar is also one to be wary of today. Because, yeah, he could quite easily, of course, trouble to the front three there in qualifying yesterday if it wasn't for McLaren's poor decision making in waiting, making him wait so long, because he came out behind who was it? Alonso and Sainz. So your sixth race with us. Welcome, pleasure. Welcome back, Scorpio. Welcome back. Right, guys, we are only moments away from finding out what the tyre blankets are. Oh, here we go, right on cue. Some tyre blankets have been pulled off of the cars. And we can see here, majority of drivers starting on the medium compound tyre on the brand new set of mediums that they have available to them. And then we have Zhou and Ocon, the only drivers on the soft, and Perez starting from the pit lane, the only driver starting on the hard. So that is most definitely a goal-hanging tactic for the Red Bull driver, so that he can go long on a set of hards and hope for some rain, a safety car, a red flag, and he's obviously gained back those positions he lost in qualifying. So interesting. I guess the medium tyre is the right choice. I still think if it's dry conditions, it'll be a medium to hard race, and I guess the medium obviously leaves that option open to a lot of drivers to mix up their strategy. But yeah, that's generally what that indicates to me. We've got Zhou and Ocon obviously hoping to get some extra grip off the start line and gain some positions on the first couple of the laps. But how long will those soft tyres last? We don't know. And of course, the wet weather. When is that going to arrive? 60% chance of rain, guys, is what is being forecasted. So only moments away until we have the formation lap. And this British Grand Prix gets underway, hotly anticipated, with 3 Brits in the top 3 for... Is that the first time ever? Got to be the first time ever, isn't it, guys? Got to be the first time ever. Max's car is set up for max conditions, people. He's going to be strong today. He's going to be strong. This race should be a Lewis victory as a goodbye gift from Mercedes. We'll see. Well, look, George is no slouch. George has been performing very well. He's off the back of a win. No matter how it came about, a win's a win. You have to put yourself in the position to capitalise on others' mistakes. And he did that last week. He was the best of the rest, and he got a win as a result of it. And this time out, he's followed it up a week later with a pole position. So, yes, let's see what he is going to provide. Definitely going to be strong today. Lando's going to be no slouch. Neither is Verstappen. Neither is Piastri as well. Now I'm looking at Piastri. Just got a feeling about him. I've got a feeling he might call something today. Might put out a banger of performance. So, end the poll before the race. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Stuffeyy. What would I do without you, my little producer, eh? So, let's end the poll. 2,500 votes, and results are in. Majority of you, 34%, say Lewis Hamilton is going to win this race today. A lot of faith in Lewis Hamilton. We have Verstappen, 26%, but only by 1% over Lando Norris. Both of them are starting on the second row of the grid, not even on the front row. And George Russell, who is in pole position, has the least faith out of you all with 13%. Interesting, very, very interesting. As we are underway, guys, with the formation lap. Moments away now until this British Grand Prix gets underway. If you are yet to do so, please hit that like button. Let's get this stream to 500 likes before the race begins. Let's see if we can get this channel to over 20,000 subscribers as well. That number at the top right hand of your screen, let's get that rolling over and get that to 27,000. It'd be much appreciated, and continue to build this great community that we have here for F1, where we can share our love of racing and Formula 1. But yes, moments away. George Russell heading out up front. It is currently a dry circuit. It is overcast, however, it is cloudy, and of course 60% chance of rain, so anything could happen. Where am I going here? Let's go back to the start. Right. So we'll run down the grid as they get round to their starting positions. Of course, Sergio Perez waiting patiently in the pit lane as they start to line up. He will make his way to the end of that pit lane. But of course, we've seen incidents here in the first lap before. Of course, most famously, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen into Copse Corner in 2021. We saw Zhou Guanyu flipped over and crashing at the end of turn 1 into the catch fence, which brought out the red flag for around an hour and a half, I believe it was, last time out, while they extracted him from that car and removed that car as well. So in previous years, we have seen some very dramatic first laps here, or first lap moments at the Silverstone circuit. Are we going to see that again today? Of course, with Russell and Hamilton alongside each other up front on the front row, and of course Lando and Max. We know what happened with them last week as well. No love lost between those two. As much as they're friends off circuit, that all goes away when they get behind the wheel of a Formula 1 car. Anders, thank you very much for becoming a member of the pit crew, buddy. Welcome, welcome. Yes, if you'd like to support this channel even further, you can hit that join button, and for less than the price of a coffee, you can help support this channel and myself, and bring me a step closer to making this a full-time career and bring some quality content to you all. But as George Russell comes onto his grid starting box at the front of the grid here, let's have a rundown of these starting positions one last time. It is George Russell in pole position ahead of his Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton in P2. Lando Norris in P3, rounding off a top 3, an all-British front 3 in third place. Max Verstappen in the second row, now with a replaced and brand new floor in P4. Oscar Piastri P5, Nico Hulkenberg in 6th, Sainz 7th, Stroll 8th, Albon 9th, and Fernando Alonso in 10th. Leclerc is in 11th, Sargent in 12th, Tsunoda in 13th, Zhou 14th, Ricciardo 15th, Bottas 16th, Magnussen 17th, Ocon 18th, Gasly 19th, and Sergio Perez is starting from the pit lane in 20th place. Here we go, guys. They're all lined up on the grid. It will be lights on. And for the British Grand Prix, it is... away we go, green light as they head down to the first corner for the first time in this first 52-lap race. Who has got a good start here? It seems to be George Russell has maintained that position slightly from Lewis Hamilton as he got side by side. Carlos Sainz has lost the position, Albon has lost 2 places, and Magnussen as well as they head into the loop for the first time. The top 5 are as they were. Leclerc up 3 positions now as he's got ahead of Alonso and Hulkenberg there in the space of 2 corners as Max Verstappen gets partially around Lando Norris as they head down the Wellington Straight for the first time. It is Russell from Hamilton, from Verstappen, from Norris and Piastri. Carlos Sainz in 6th, Stroll in 7th as they head into Brooklands. And George Russell, importantly, stays ahead of his Mercedes teammate. They have said they're going to be working together today. Teamwork makes the game work, is what George Russell was quoted as saying before this race began. As it is George Russell, Max Verstappen already half a second back from Lewis Hamilton. Lando Norris is in P4. Piastri is where he started in P5. Leclerc, a great start from him. A few changing positions as they head through Magnussen Beckett's for the first time. As I'm just watching the race start, as we can see that George Russell did get... Lewis Hamilton did get alongside him as Max Verstappen made a great move round the outside. Lots of grip over Lando Norris through the loop. But as they head down into Stowe for the first time, it is Russell, Hamilton, Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris and Piastri. Those five starting to break away slightly from Carlos Sainz, but it is pretty much a DRS train which will be activated next time out as Perez is trying to catch up to the back of the pack on the hard compound tyre as Gasly is in the pit lane. Gasly hasn't even started this race. What has gone on there? Gasly, unable to start this race, is back into the pit lane for him. That is a poor start for him. But George Russell ahead of Hamilton and Max Verstappen, as Max Verstappen is hounding Lewis Hamilton at the moment, 7 tenths behind. But DRS will now be activated for the first time this race. Only a single lap, but we have to wait now for DRS to be activated. No longer is it 2. So let's see how much time Hamilton is able to gain on George Russell, and likewise Max on Hamilton, as it's a purple first sector there for Lando Norris, 4 tenths faster than Max Verstappen, as he gains a lot of time there on Max and gets very, very close to the rear wing of Max Verstappen. I think Max had a little bit of a rear wobble, wobble through the first sector as he was following in the dirty air of Lewis Hamilton, as he is briefly losing the DRS to Lewis Hamilton here, but is regaining it. He's right on the edge as they head through Maggots and Beckett's, but George Russell is your leader from Lewis Hamilton, from Max Verstappen in P3, Lando Norris in P4, hounding Max Verstappen, Piastri in P5, Sainz in P6 upper position, Stroll upper position in P7, Leclerc, a great start from him, what he needed, starting in 11th, up 3 positions in P8, Hulkenberg in P9, Alonso in P10 where he started, Tsunoda up 2 positions as well in P11, Albon is down 3 positions and only 1 place ahead of his teammate Logan Sargent in 12th and 13th. Zhou, where he started, in 14th. Ricciardo in 15th. Ocon up 2 positions in 16th. And Magnussen and Bottas and Perez are 17th, 18th and 19th. And we have a confirmation of that retirement of Pierre Gasly, who I'm not entirely sure what occurred there, but maybe he was not even able to make it to the grid, or they wheeled him back in. Of course, a power unit change for the Alpine driver. But Verstappen has lost the DRS to Lewis Hamilton here. He is the first driver, other than Magnussen and Bottas down in 18th and 17th, to lose the DRS. So this is important for the 2 Mercedes drivers of Russell and Hamilton to get away from the pack behind. And what this will do for Verstappen is that he will be under attack now and vulnerable to the McLaren of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri following close behind. So let's see how that unfolds. But Verstappen definitely struggling in the first sector compared to the Mercedes. There is an incident noted between Nico Hulkenberg leaving and gaining an advantage through turn 3. So we'll see what happens with that, as Perez is now catching the back of the pack, which is Valtteri Bottas on the hard compound tyre. But it seems to be that in the slow corners that Verstappen is losing time to the Mercedes drivers. But Russell there is now out of the DRS of his Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton. So those two looking to pull away from Max Verstappen and increase that gap, because we know that there is a risk of rain at any point throughout this race. 60% chance, guys, if you're just joining us, is what is informed throughout this race. It is forecast that rain could be coming through around an hour into this race, 4 o'clock. So let's keep an eye out on that and see what happens. I have the TV coverage available to me to keep an eye out on the weather. At the moment, it does just look cloudy. There are breaks of sun, so it is a dry race for now. But of course, as is with the British weather, that could change on a dime. So George Russell flying at the moment, half a second quicker than his teammate last time around with a 31.7, and George with a 31.2. He is really getting his foot down at the moment. Maybe Lewis, of course, just already thinking about tyre management. You never know. It is kind of, I say the rule of thumb, or what we've seen in the past, is that George does take a bit more out of his tyres than generally Lewis has done. But importantly for Lewis, he is 1.5 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen, who is up a position into P3. So we'll see, of course, how those lap times progress. Of course, Max Verstappen, a 32.2 for him as well. Is this because he's already stepping into that tyre management phase of this race? Or is he just thinking... or is he generally struggling through those slower corners? We will see. But Lando there, 31.9 from him. Piastri at 31.9. And then as we make our way further down the grid, everyone's kind of getting into the 32s. But it seems a bit too quick from George at the moment at this stage of the race. He doesn't really need to be going this quick, but I suppose he wants to keep Lewis Hamilton out of his DRS and avoid any potential overtaking opportunity of Lewis Hamilton, of course, who will be wanting to win this race at his home circuit, going for a record 9th win at Silverstone. Of course, he has the start-finish straight named after himself as well. And it is also 945 days, guys, since Lewis Hamilton last won a race in F1. So we're approaching that 1,000-day mark, which, of course, Hamilton would love to ensure isn't the case. But yes, Verstappen now 1.5 seconds behind George Russell. Behind Lewis Hamilton. He's 3 seconds behind George Russell. Lando Norris just staying within DRS at the moment, and I would say we're already into a tyre management phase of this race, very, very early on, 5 laps into it, and drivers probably not looking to get closer than they currently are to ensure that they don't take too much life out of their tyres. I imagine they would only be capitalising on a potential mistake from a driver. We'll see what Lando Norris decides to do Of course, this year the pattern has been that Lando Norris likes to manage early on in this phase of a race, and then at the end of a stint he comes on strong, as Piastri is just outside of the DRS. No, he regains it. We're starting to see some drivers break the DRS as it is, so yeah, you can see the top 5 there of Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris and Piastri. Is only Norris and Piastri who are in the DRS of each other, and Verstappen is just sitting back comfortably, 1.5 seconds back from Lewis Hamilton. So is Lewis Hamilton ahead of his teammate as well, just dropping back on the first stint of this race. If it is a dry race, will be a one-stop race. So I'm just watching the start of Alex Albon here as he headed into the loop. And Alex Albon, Nico Hülkenberg, he made contact with Nico Hülkenberg, rejoined the circuit. And while Nico Hülkenberg was reviewed for that and there's no further investigation, Alonso had to take avoiding action of Hülkenberg rejoining the circuit. He made contact with the rear wheel of Fernando Alonso. Was Fernando Alonso? I think it was Alonso or Stroll, either or. It was definitely an Aston Martin, and he had to take avoiding action and save the car very well. But that's why he lost so many positions from P9 and is now down in P12. But 6 laps on now into this race, and George Russell is your leader from Lewis Hamilton by 1.6 seconds. Max Verstappen up a position on Lando with a gap of 1.5 seconds to Hamilton. Lando Norris, apologies, in P4 is just staying within that DRS of Verstappen. Likewise, so is Piastri on Norris as well. Sainz now onto the back of Piastri and towing himself along. Hülkenberg, we can see there, but Stroll and Leclerc. Stroll is currently holding up Leclerc, so Leclerc will be wanting to get past him as soon as he can. Let's see if he's quite close here. He's got DRS open, Leclerc. Is he going to have a look down into Stowe corner? He's going for it. We've seen overtakes on the inside and the outside through Stowe before, and he just isn't close enough just yet to have a look at the Aston Martin. But it's important for him to get past Stroll because he is losing ground to his teammate, and that pack of Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri and Sainz, the top 6, the longer he stays behind Lance Stroll. What happened to Gasly? I'm not sure, but he had a power unit change, and, well, he was already starting from the back of the grid with a penalty, and it looks like he didn't even get to start the race. So something maybe stalled on the circuit, I'm not entirely sure, or they decided to bring him into the grid, into the pit lane before the race even started. But yeah, not a good weekend for Gasly. As Magnussen gets ahead of Ocon, we can see there that Perez, the only driver on the hard compound tyre, is in the middle of that pack. He's on the back of Esteban Ocon now, and looks like with DRS open, with a double toe potentially, he could have an opportunity on the Alpine driver as Ricciardo gains a position on Zhou down into Brooklands corner, as Perez on the hard compound tyre with a brand new power unit, completely out of position, not making it out of Q1 yesterday, is looking at an overtake on the Alpine of Esteban Ocon through Luffield. Has he got the move done? They're side by side, and Esteban Ocon just holds off Perez for a little bit longer, but it looks like they're side by side as they're going to head into Copse corner. Who's going to back out here? And Ocon does, as Perez gets a move done into Copse corner for 17th position, already up 3 places through the retirement of Gasly and overtaking Bottas and Ocon, and he's up into 17th position. But as it stands, Russell is your leader, 1.7 seconds ahead of Hamilton, 1.6 seconds ahead of Verstappen is Lewis, and Lando has now lost the DRS of the Red Bull. And these drivers with a potential one-stop on the cards today, that is what has been predicted by Pirelli. Medium to hard compound is primarily what we are going to see. That is why we're seeing these drivers just drop back a little bit from the dirty air, not able to gain a lot, and, well, it might not get spicy unless someone makes a lock-up towards the end of this first stint, or if the rain starts to arrive. Russell finally started to show why he won the F2 Championship in 2018. Yes, yeah, definitely a good drive from him thus far. Might have taken out a little bit more of his tyres. In the first stage of this race, though. He was going very quick, around half a second quicker, trying to break the DRS of Lewis, but has that harmed him in the long run in this race? We will see. Yet 2 reasons: tyre preservation and rain near. Yes. Do I ever think Verstappen can win today? Definitely, yeah. I mean, look, the top 5 could all win this race still. Even Sainz, like, they're all very close together. Sainz is only 7 seconds back with the potential of rain. And still a very long... I mean, we've still got 45 laps left in this race. It is anyone's. But, of course, George Russell in the ascendancy at the moment. But is he going too quick? As Perez picks off Zhou at Copse Corner. 2 laps in a row. Perez has made overtakes into Copse Corner. And he is now up 4 positions into 16th. Magnussen next in his target sights as he heads down the hangar straight into Stowe Corner for Sergio Perez on that hard compound tyre. Let's see how he gets on. It's important for Perez today, of course. Lots of rumours around the stability of his seat as Ocon also gets past Zhou there. So the 2 Stake F1 cars now in the last running positions in 18th and 19th. So not very good for those 2 cars at the moment. 1 on the mediums and 1 on the softs. Definitely off the pace, those 2 are. But yeah, Perez, of course, lots of rumours around his contract and the stability of his seat in the Red Bull team. And he needs, of course, after yesterday's poor performance and mistake in qualifying, to recover as many positions as possible. Points or nothing for Perez today. Nothing but points will be seen as acceptable from starting down the back of the grid. Bottas driver of the day, yeah. Charles, come on, you need to... yeah, so Charles Leclerc struggling in the dirty air of Stroll. He has been within the DRS of Lance Stroll for quite some time, and he's just not been able to gain on the Aston Martin. Is that a testament to how good the Aston Martin potentially may have improved, or is it more so how much Charles Leclerc is struggling in that Ferrari, with them reverting back to the spec that they used at Imola? The brand new upgrade package that they brought in Barcelona, they've binned it off. They've gone back to the Imola spec. So definitely not all is well at Ferrari as it stands. And, well, Charles Leclerc struggling to get past the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll is doing a good job at the moment. He is, respectively, only 3.5 seconds back, 3.6 seconds back from the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, who is in 6th place. But you can see there the gap increasing. As Charles Leclerc's engineer has said, rain is expected in 7 laps time, ladies and gentlemen. 7 laps time. What do the drivers do? Do they start getting pedal to the metal, trying to increase the gap, take the life out of these tyres with the rain coming down? Or is it not enough? Is it just going to be a light sprinkle? Is it just going to be a couple of corners and you pray that you eke out these tyres? Decisions to be made by the drivers and the teams right now, as Lewis Hamilton is 1.5 seconds back from his teammate. And I'm looking at the weather radar on one of the pit wall, and it looks like it's a very, very big patch of rain that is coming over. So we'll see how heavy that is. So maybe this 2.5 second gap that has formed between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton is due to them being told to get a move on with this inclement weather. As George Russell and Lewis Hamilton, 1.5 seconds between them, and a further 2.5 seconds to Max Verstappen. 1.5 seconds between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen in P3 and 4. Piastri has just been staying in the DRS of his teammate into turn 15, as you can see there in Stowe Corner, and we can see Sainz has dropped back further to 3.3 seconds now. So very, very interesting stage of this race. What do the drivers do? Do they take the life out of these tyres now? We've seen them pretty much go into a tyre saving phase quite early on into this race, but last time around, lap times, a 31.6 for Russell, a 31.5 for Lewis Hamilton, as Zhou now gets overtaken by his teammate Bottas for 18th position. Zhou started on the soft compound tyre, and Ocon, the only other driver to start on the soft. Both of them struggling and losing considerable ground to the drivers ahead of them, of Perez on the hard compound and everyone ahead on the mediums. So that decision to start on the softs has backfired, of course. This early stage of the race, starting on the softs, never preferable really, due to how much load is put through the tyres with that extra fuel on the car. The car is the heaviest it is at the start of a race, of course, 100 kilograms of fuel that these cars can start with. But yeah, let's see how that gap stays with Russell and Hamilton. That's staying quite consistent, and the gap is edging out a bit further between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen into P3, with it 2.7 seconds now. So maybe the Mercedes are getting a move on. Remember, 7 laps it was. We've got 6 laps now, 5 laps until the rain is arriving. It could arrive even earlier. Very windy it gets at Silverstone, that is for sure. You can see there a 4.5 mile an hour wind at the moment, but no doubt that has been up and down throughout the duration of this race. But as we come across the last corner, through Club Corner, turn 18, across the start-finish line for the 12th time, or the 11th time this race, let's see what the gaps are. And it was a 31.5 from George Russell, a 31.4, well, pretty much a 31.5 also from Lewis Hamilton, and a 30... Hang on. Nothing really concrete coming from the engineer of Lando Norris. Just them saying we need to keep it simple, but no actual confirmation of when rain is going to arrive. But you can see there that gap, 3 seconds now to Max Verstappen of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. 31.8 last time around for Max, and a 31.5 for Lewis Hamilton and George Russell. I bet Haas take a risk on the rain. They love it, Anders. Yeah, potentially. They do like it. I mean, Hulkenberg's going well quite now in P9. He's just behind Charles Leclerc, towing himself along. Although Fernando Alonso is catching. Fernando Alonso's going quite nicely as well. This race is very much up in the air at the moment, just because the Mercedes are up front, and it does seem Lewis Hamilton gaining a little bit on his teammate. Gaining a little bit, a 31.4 last time around compared to Russell's 31.5, so a 10th gained by Lewis Hamilton. That gap now to 1.3 seconds, over 3 seconds now it is to Max Verstappen. Lando Norris 1.2 back from Max Verstappen, and Piastri just sticking tightly behind Lando in that DRS, towing him along. 4 seconds, they've increased that gap to the Ferrari of Sainz in P6. Leclerc still struggling with Lance Stroll, cannot get close enough and stay close enough through Magnussen Beckett's to have an opportunity with DRS open into Stowe corner. So yes, the Ferrari seems to be quite draggy or struggling in the dirty air of the Aston Martin. But once again, that gap has Lewis chipping away at Russell's time here. Oh, he's just locked up a little bit there, though, Lewis. He's just gone wide through the first couple, through turn 3 and 4, and that gap that came down to almost a second has shot out half a second to 1.6 back from George Russell, and that's the nature of the first couple of corners here at the Silverstone circuit. Turn 3 and 4 easily can make a lock-up, and, well, that can cost you a lot of time, as Hamilton was just chipping away at George's gap there, and it's now gone out to 1.7 seconds, so it's going to take him a little while to recover from that lock-up and spike in temperature. No doubt that he has occurred on one of those tyres that he's locked up into turn 3. Gasly is holding Perez. No, Gasly has retired from this race. Still not entirely sure why Gasly retired. No doubt it was a power unit issue, as he was on his 5th power unit for this race. As Zhou has pitted to the medium compound tyre, absolutely suffering on those softs. Only one of 2 drivers to do so, Ocon, who is also suffering as well. Look at the gap between Esteban Ocon and Valtteri Bottas there from Sergio Perez, or the field ahead of him, as Perez is on the back of Magnussen now. 32.5, almost identical lap times last time out. And Leclerc finally gets past Lance Stroll into Stowe corner. Lap 14, and he has finally dispatched the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll into turn 15, commonly referred to as Stowe corner, and he'll now be able to focus in on his teammate up ahead. But how much has that taken out of the tyre life of Charles Leclerc? We will see. But of course, rain is on its way, as was predicted, and if it is true, we are only a few laps away until those first drops are going to come down. Oh, guys, interesting start to this race. If you can please hit the like button. We've got 597 likes. Let's get that up to 1,000, shall we? Let's get that up to 1,000. There's 6,000 of you in here in this stream, nearly. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in, and if you can hit that subscribe button as well if you're new to this channel, or if you're recurring to this channel, returning viewer, and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do. It's just a token of appreciation to know that you're enjoying these watch-alongs, and yeah, help continue to build a great community that we've got here to enjoy this F1 season. Thoroughly looked decent enough, so I hope the pace is back. We'll see. Their pace is not good enough with the front four, though, as Lando Norris has gained considerably on Max Verstappen there. 3 tenths last time out, and he's less than half a second behind Max Verstappen now as he went down with the DRS into Stowe Corner. So was that a slight issue from Max Verstappen, or was that just a really good lap from Lando Norris? We will see. But a lot of time gained there by Lando on Max Verstappen that lap, and he is well within the DRS. Well within the DRS now. Half a second back from Max Verstappen in the tow. Of course, doesn't want to lock up a tyre here, but we could see these two go side by side, wheel to wheel. Only a week later, of course, from the Austrian GP, the Red Bull Ring. Let's see as they come out of the loop there, turn 5. Let's see how close Lando can get. It seems to be a little bit too far back, half a second back on Max Verstappen as they head down the Wellington Straight into turn 6, which is Brooklands. And yeah, it looks like he deactivated his DRS a little bit early there as he went into Brooklands. Not close enough to have an opportunity just yet. Still early on in this race, 38 laps remaining. Rain apparently on its way. But Lando, is this Max making a mistake? Doesn't seem to be so, as his lap time last time out was similar to Lewis Hamilton's. But as we have seen from Lando, just keep posted on if anyone's going off. It's coming down slightly harder now, as George Russell reports that the rain is coming down slightly harder now. So is this Lando Norris getting a move on at this stage of the race, trying to get track position with the rain starting to come down? We will see. DRS open for Lando. He's close. He's very close. Is he going to have an opportunity at Max down into turn 15, Stowe Corner? He gets ahead of Max Verstappen. They go side by side through Stowe Corner, and Lando Norris regains third place from Max Verstappen. 15 laps into this race, into the Stowe Corner, heads into Val ahead of Max Verstappen with the rain starting to come down. Lando Norris, it's back to a British 1-2-3, a fastest lap also for Lando, a 30.9 last time out, half a second, 6 tenths quicker than the two Mercedes. And is this Lando now going on a charge with this rain coming down? With George Russell reporting that it's getting harder, but a great move there by Lando. Didn't even go. Let's have a look at it on the replay, and no doubt respect was given. Maybe Max didn't even have an opportunity at Lando down into Stowe Corner, as the overdrive of Lando was so big, he got ahead of Max Verstappen into Stowe Corner, and a great overtake from him as Max Verstappen already nearly losing the DRS from Lando Norris there. But let's see how long it's going to be. How hard is this rain coming down right now? It is definitely getting darker over the Silverstone circuit, with Magnussen and Ricciardo going side by side into Brooklands, as Magnussen gets ahead of Daniel Ricciardo into turn 6. Brooklands stays ahead through Luffield, and Sergio Perez will be looking at capitalising on these two fighting, as he is on the hard compound tyre in P16, currently up 4 places. He's already overtaken 2 drivers in quick succession at Copse Corner, but he's not going to be able to do so this time around. And we can see that drivers now starting to get a move on. Purple sectors starting to be more apparent here, with Lewis Hamilton fastest in the middle sector, and well, George Russell green in the middle as well, as these drivers, very slow in the last sector it was from Lewis Hamilton, but he was fastest in the middle. And that is these drivers starting to get a move on with this weather potentially on its way in, as Verstappen 1.6 seconds back now from Lando Norris. He can't cope with the pace of the McLaren. Maybe it's still a tactical decision by the Red Bull of Max just to keep eking these tyres out, with the potential. Maybe they're banking on the fact that there isn't rain on its way in, and they're just saving these tyres for a bit longer. Lots of strategy decisions going on play here, but it does seem to be that Max is losing time out of the slower corners. Is that a conscious decision, or is that just a lack of grip from the Red Bull with these current tyres? But Piastri is now going to be looking at the back wing, or the rear wing of Max Verstappen, and looking to do what his teammate did only a few laps ago and get past him, potentially down into Stowe Corner. Rain time, it's Lewis time. Vamos, Lando, vamos. Is it going to rain? 60% chance of rain there has been predicted for this race. Well, 62% now. It's gone up slightly, so let's see what happens. But Max Verstappen is definitely losing time. He is losing time. Is it? It looks like he's just struggling, Max Verstappen, right now. As Oscar Piastri gets ahead of Max Verstappen, like his teammate, into Stowe corner. DRS activated, and Max Verstappen, in the space of a couple of laps, has gone from P3 and has lost 2 positions to the 2 McLarens and is now down into turn 5. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri up into P3 and P4. It is currently the 2 Mercedes drivers out up front in 1-2, and then the 2 McLaren drivers in P3 and 4. What is up with Max McLaren at the moment and that Red Bull car? Has that flaw been sufficiently repaired? Is he just struggling with the tyres, or is this a conscious decision to just look after these tyres a bit longer than everyone else? But his lap times are definitely slow. They're as slow as Lance Stroll and Nico Hülkenberg at the moment. So not very good from the Red Bull with Max Verstappen. Yet to hear any radio of what he's actually struggling with. We will see. But yeah, not looking good at this first stint for the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, as Lewis Hamilton has really closed up the gap there on George Russell. George Russell has made a mistake somewhere in that first sector, as Lewis Hamilton is 3 tenths back from his teammate George Russell. Lando Norris 3 tenths back now as well. They're going to be going tail to tail through nose to tail, through Maggers and Beckett's, and George Russell will have to go defensive here. He might not even have a defence with Lewis Hamilton 3 tenths back, DRS open. Are we going to see Lewis Hamilton take the lead of the British Grand Prix? Down into Stowe corner, he's ahead, but does he maintain it from George Russell? He does! Lewis Hamilton takes the lead from George Russell after a mistake in the first sector into Stowe corner, and Lewis Hamilton is currently the leader after 18 laps of this race, about to approach 19, is leading the British Grand Prix. Is it team orders? I don't believe so. It seemed to be George made a potential mistake. Wow. What is happening in this race as Lando Norris has closed in on George Russell now? What has happened? Has George Russell's tyres fallen off? Has he got an issue? Hopefully not. But Lando has closed in as he's looking for a move on George Russell. George Russell's going slow as Lando goes into P2. George Russell, I think, has an issue. Oh no, there's low grip conditions. We have low grip conditions as Lando is now only just over a second back from the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. George Russell has lost 2 positions, has lost the lead of this race in the space of half a lap. Wow, he's struggling. George Russell struggling. We are reporting low grip conditions at the moment. But wow, that seemed to be that George Russell just was eaten up by Lando there. Just watching the replay. As, yes, the Mercedes both went off into turn 1. Both the Mercedes went off into turn 1. We have low grip conditions, and that's why Lando was able to gain the position on George Russell. We are approaching intermediates now. These drivers are going very, very slow. They are going so slow right now. They're eking their way around this circuit. It is a very wet Silverstone, and that's why George Russell lost the position to Lando Norris. And, well, Lewis Hamilton, let's see. As Norris was reporting, they both rejoined very unsafely. Let's see if anyone decides to come into the pit lane, but it is low grip conditions at the moment. Let's see, pit lane right into turn 16, and no, they all stay out. But we have, at the moment, the 2 Mercedes drivers, the top 4, separated by 2 seconds, guys, as Max Verstappen is losing more time to the drivers up ahead, as Lewis Hamilton is struggling here. Lewis Hamilton struggling as he's lost a position to Lando. Lando is leading this race. Lando is leading this race as Lewis Hamilton might get overtaken by George Russell. What is happening right here? I don't know what's occurring. Lewis Hamilton, is he in P2 as he comes out for the loop? George Russell's all over the back of him. Oscar Piastri also looking to capitalise here, but Lando is in the lead and seems to have the grip as the 2 Mercedes drivers are struggling. Piastri gets past George Russell, and it looks like it could be a McLaren 1-2 as they head into Brooklands corner. Leclerc is in the pits, Perez is in the pits. It's definitely approaching the intermediate tyre as Lewis Hamilton struggling through the first couple of corners there, as Lewis Hamilton is going to lose. Oh, he stays ahead of Oscar Piastri as they head through turn 8. How has Lando got so much grip at this stage of the race? I don't know. But wow, Lando Norris, so much grip, easily got past the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, and Lando is leading by 1.6 seconds from Lewis Hamilton, and we have Hamilton under attack from Piastri, George Russell close behind as well, but in the space of a couple of laps, it's all flipped on its head, this race, with the top 5 or top 4. Max Verstappen recovers a little bit there with a 42.4, 3 seconds back. As we can see here, with the DRS will be open. DRS has been activated, as it is definitely wet conditions now. As Piastri gets past Hamilton into Stowe corner, it is a McLaren 1-2 as we are 20 laps into this race, and they still stay out there on the dry tyres. No one's pitting to the intermediates just yet, apart from Leclerc, Perez and Ocon, who have gambled right now. But it's all flipped on its head for the Mercedes team, as Norris has overtaken Hamilton and Russell for the lead of this race in the space of 2 laps. Zhou rejoins on the intermediate tyres and is going to get in the way of this battle for the lead, as Hamilton and Russell are now 3rd and 4th, guys. What is going on? Oh my god. Wow, if you're liking this race, if you're liking this stream, please hit the like button. We are just a few away from 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 likes, and 27,000 subscribers. It'd be much appreciated, guys, as Lando is the leader of this race. Piastri in P2, it is a McLaren 1-2. Hamilton is in P3, Russell in P4. Verstappen starting to make a move now as well. He's found some grip on the Mercedes and is closing the gap there, only 2 seconds back from George Russell in P4, as Verstappen is in P5, Sainz is in P6. And interestingly enough, these drivers are still staying out there in these conditions. I think it's only a few corners that have the wet areas. Just watching Lewis Hamilton, as Lewis Hamilton has been asked, we think it's time to jump to inters, and Lewis Hamilton said nope, it's still dry in a lot of places. That's why we're not seeing anyone pit just yet. And well, there's a couple of corners that are wet, which we've seen from obviously Lewis Hamilton and George Russell struggle, but this race, it has only been raining in a few corners, guys, and Lando Norris has just dealt with those corners so much better than the two Mercedes, well, the 2 McLarens have, as it is currently Norris in P1, Piastri P2, and Hamilton in P3, with Russell in P4. And well, now it seems to be drying out just a little bit again now, as we can see it's clear in sector 17. But slippery in sector 11. The rain is all over the place on this circuit at the moment. The data cannot decide whether it's slippery, whether it's clear, whether it's dry. But Max Verstappen is still poised in P5. We're yet to have a pit stop made by these front 6 drivers. Charles Leclerc jumped the gun and went to an intermediate tyre. So did Perez. We'll see how that plays out for them. Their lap times are quite slow. You can see they're 2 minutes and 1 minute 59 for them, but that was their out lap. We'll see what their laps are when they come through for the first time. So let's keep an eye on Leclerc and Perez at the moment. They're the drivers, but are relative to these top teams. They'll be keeping an eye on those to see how quick they're going on the intermediates. And Leclerc does a 42.8, so he's considerably slower than the top drivers at the moment. Sergio Perez a 41.9, so the intermediates is definitely the wrong choice right now, guys. Definitely the wrong choice. Poor Leclerc. It's Canada all over again. It's Canada all over again, as Perez is reporting on the radio. It's too dry, man. It's too dry. So that rain was only sufficient in a couple of corners. And of course, the Mercedes were unable to deal with it, as Lando's definitely got his foot down now. A 30.8 by Lando. 3 tenths faster last time out than his teammate in P2. 2 tenths faster than Lewis Hamilton in P3. And George Russell definitely the slowest out of the top 4 at the moment. But Max Verstappen also slower than those, and in the top 4 with a 31.9 and Sainz a 32.1. But wow, how this race has flipped on its head with the track conditions in the space of just a few laps. Lando Norris able to get the grip much more so than Lewis Hamilton and the 2 Mercedes. And it was really dealt with in that first corner where it was raining more heavily. And Lewis Hamilton and George Russell both had big wobbles through turn 1, which caused them to take to the escape road, which allowed Lando Norris to close the gap and use the advantage of DRS while it was still activated. But DRS is, interestingly, still disabled, even though it is pretty dry conditions out there. So we'll see. But Hamilton 1 second back from Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris pulling out a gap now, 1.8 seconds on his teammate. But it is a McLaren 1-2. Lewis Hamilton P3. George Russell in P4. Max Verstappen in P5. 3.7 seconds back now from from George Russell, so he is dropping back quite a bit in this early stint, or in this first stint in this race. Sainz is in P6, Nico Hülkenberg in P7, Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll are in P8 and 9, Yuki Tsunoda is in P10, Alex Albon and Logan Sargent in 11th and 12th for the two Williams drivers, and Magnussen is hounding Logan Sargent at this moment in time. We have Ricciardo in 14th, Bottas in 15th, and then we have Leclerc and Perez, who changed to the intermediate tyres, and well, it was a big mistake from them. They are currently 13 seconds off the pace on those intermediate tyres, because it is pretty much dry conditions again, as Magnussen dispatches Sargent down into Stowe Corner to move himself up into 12 places. Currently the most positions gained out of anyone on circuit thus now is Magnussen, up 5 positions. The one who has lost the most positions, guys, I'm sorry, Charles Leclerc fans, 5 positions down for Charles Leclerc, on par with Zhou Guanyu in 19th. Wow, very, very interesting now, as Ocon came off of the intermediates almost instantly and is back onto a set of mediums there. So we'll see how long it'll be for Leclerc and for the Red Bull of Perez to see if they stay out there or if they come in onto a set of dryers. As we have been informed, it is normal grip conditions again, and DRS has been re-enabled. Wow, what an interesting race, guys, this is. And we've still got 29 laps remaining. If you could please hit the like, but we are 40 likes away from 1,000 likes. Can we do it, guys? Can we do it? Please, it'd be much appreciated. And we're 75 subs away from 27,000. Hit that like button, guys. Let's get that number at the top right-hand side of your screen up to 27,000. It'll be much appreciated, guys. What's wrong with Charles? Nothing wrong with Charles. Ferrari have done a Ferrari, and they've jumped the gun too early with their strategy. Max looking normal now. He is not in the fastest car. I disagree. I mean, look, we don't know. I don't know if there's any issues with Max's car compared to... Hang on. Oh, there's rain on the way. Oh, dear. There is a 30-minute batch of rain on its way. I'm just looking at a very fast shot on the TV coverage. It is on its way. That is why we're now going to see drivers getting their foot down. It is hammer time for every single driver out there now with this rain on its way. That's why Leclerc and Perez have yet to pit on the intermediate tyre, because they can see it in the distance. I could see it in the distance. It is on its way, guys. We have rain, and this race is going to flip on its head once again. So we will see, but Perez has just been lapped by the top 4 drivers of Norris, Piastri, Hamilton and Russell. Russell is now struggling on this set of tyres, maybe taking, as we suggested, too much out of them in the early stages of this race, now lapping in the high 31s. Max Verstappen lapping in the 33s. He's killed his medium tyres as well. The Red Bull not looking good in this early stint, but of course, we do know this race can completely flip on its head with this weather on its way, guys, on its way. Over 1,000 likes, 1,100 likes, thank you, guys, much appreciated. 7,000 of you in here in the stream, big thank you. And it's always great to see this recurring number of viewers keep coming back, or consistent number of viewers, as DRS has been disabled again. I can't keep up, guys. DRS disabled, low grip conditions, the rain is here, the drivers, the top 6 have just passed the pit lane, so they're staying out for just a little bit longer. But if DRS has been disabled, then we definitely know the rain is coming down, as Max is being hounded by the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz there, as they're looking to approach and lap Charles Leclerc in P16. Yes, you heard that correctly, lap Charles Leclerc in P16. But Carlos Sainz, can he get an overtake done without DRS on the Red Bull with Max Verstappen before they head into the pit lane? No doubt. But it does seem that their first sector times are pretty consistent with what we've seen. But let's see if they decide to pit. It's going to be essential. Who's going to pit first? Who's going to pull that trigger first? Who's going to be standing out there too late? We will see. It's very close. It is definitely a 4-way fight, a 2-team battle for the win today at the Silverstone circuit for this British Grand Prix between the 2 McLarens and the 2 Mercedes. 3 Brits in there, 1 Australian. Who will come out on top? Don't write off Max Verstappen either, but he is currently 7.6 seconds back from the lead of Lando Norris. As Piastri reports, it's too early for Inters just now. Too early for Inters, and the lap times, the sector times do discern that as well. So Piastri is 6 tenths back, 5 tenths back from Lando Norris. So Piastri has caught up on his teammate there. A very good first a very good lap from him. Let's see if anyone's going to pull the trigger. Are they going to come into the pit lane? Laps into turn 16. That is where the pit entry is. No. All the front four stay where they are. However, is a decision to be made, of course, between Lando Norris and Piastri, as Piastri seems to have gained quite a bit of time there. A full second, full 9/10 on Lando Norris last time out. Not entirely sure what happened with Lando Norris that lap. But with these ever-changing conditions, the slightest mistake, of course, as Verstappen and Sainz are both into the pit lane. They've gone early. They were losing so much time on the medium compound tyre. They had to try something. 10 seconds back, Verstappen was when he pitted, just losing so much ground on the leaders. The Red Bull are taking a gamble here and going onto the intermediate tyres right now. Or is it a masterstroke by the two... by the Red Bull team, by the Ferrari team to pit? And are they going to get an extra lap as well? Oscar Piastri is getting the rear out big time. I think it's intermediates now. It looks like it. Yes, we're seeing drivers come into the pit lane. How much time is it dry around the rest of the circuit so that the McLaren and the Mercedes team don't lose so much time as they go? You can quite see there how much the icons are putting up as they head through Copse Corner, turn 9. So very, very slow through there. It's track slippery through through sector 17, but let's see as they head through Magus and Beckett's. We can see that Piastri is still on the tail of Lando Norris. Hamilton, they're going to have to double stack here. They can't leave one driver out there for longer. Surely we're going to see some double stacks here between the drivers. Let's see. We've seen Verstappen and Sainz pit to intermediates already. Let's see if anyone responds out of the top 4 teams, or is the rest of the circuit still dry enough for them to get their laps in as we come through turn 16 as Lando Norris pits and Oscar Piastri stays out there. Lewis Hamilton comes into the pits as George Russell also comes into the pits. So the Mercedes are going to double stack. Oscar Piastri going very slow through turn 17 and 18 through Val and through Club Corner. This is risky by the McLaren team not to do a double stack, but their drivers were very close together. They could have risked a penalty if Piastri tried to back up the 2 Mercedes drivers, but obviously pressure is on now on the pit wall. Verstappen is coming through turn 17. He's on the intermediate tyres. Red Bull could have pitted at the perfect time here as Norris comes out and he's going to be ahead of Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton is going to come out ahead, but George Russell is going to lose a position here to Max Verstappen as the Red Bull team have pitted him at the perfect time. 1 lap earlier than George Russell made all of the difference, and with that double stack that George Russell had to make as he's gone from leading this race to now being in P6 as he's regained the position from Carlos Sainz there as he came out side by side into turn 3 out of the pit lane. But George Russell is now in P5, having to cover off Carlos Sainz with an extra lap of warmed intermediate tyres, whereas Lando and Hamilton have got out ahead. They had track position. Oscar Piastri is losing so much time. McLaren have absolutely bottled it with Piastri as Piastri is about to be caught by Lando and Hamilton and Verstappen and Russell and Sainz before he's even made his pit stop. Oh, Oscar Piastri, they screwed you over yesterday in qualifying. They've screwed you over here again today. Oh, I feel so sorry for you, Oscar, as he is coming around turn 15. Obviously, the rain has come down sufficiently more. He's the only driver currently out there on a set of slicks, and Oscar Piastri is just trickling his way into the pit lane to ensure that he doesn't lose control of the car, and he is in the pit lane, but he is going to come out down. Well, where is he going to come out? He's going to come out in 7th place behind Carlos Sainz, and he's going to have some way to catch up to the back of the pack. But after these pit stops, guys, for the intermediate tyres as it currently is, it is Norris in P1, Lewis Hamilton in P2, Max Verstappen in P3, George Russell in P4, Carlos Sainz in P5, and Perez, well, he's not in P6, he is in P16. Add 10 on there. Charles Leclerc is back into the pit lane as well, no doubt for another set of intermediates. We'll see. Max Verstappen, great call for the Inter. Come on, we're back in this race here. So we'll keep an eye on his lap times and see how he gets on. But at the moment, yes, it is definitely a British 1-2 between Norris and Hamilton. George Russell lost out there, maybe taking too much out of his tyres in the early stages of this race, which lost him those positions to Lando, to Hamilton, to Piastri, and then that's put him out of position in regards to being the first driver to get the priority in the double stack. So you're always going to lose time if you're the second driver there, and well, he's now got to chase Max Verstappen. But let's keep an eye on those lap times of the Norris and Hamilton as they will set their first proper time laps as they come around the start-finish line. But 24 laps remaining in this race. Is there any more rain on the way? Will it get stronger? Will we have to see the wet compound tyre? We will see. At the moment, it's kind of a consistent drizzle as I'm looking on the TV coverage, guys. But wow, what a race this is. And I just want to check Zhou Guanyu. I think Zhou Guanyu has made 3 pit stops already. Zhou Guanyu and Esteban Ocon have made 3 pit stops already. Wow. That's when you know you've ballsed up your strategy, isn't it, guys? That is when you know. But Oscar Piastri, feel sorry for him there. Feel sorry. They screwed him over by waiting too long in qualifying yesterday, and he still did a good job to get into Q5. And, well, he's been screwed over here today with them keeping him at not going for the double stack. If they went for the double stack, they could still potentially have, not necessarily a 1-2, but they could have at least had Oscar Piastri in that top 4. Now he is currently 4 seconds off of Carlos Sainz, and he is currently 18 seconds off of his teammate who is leading this race, where he was only half a second behind Lando Norris when they pitted. So yeah, poor strategy decision there from McLaren, whereas Mercedes decided to do the double stack, and it's worked out for them. They always knew they could potentially lose a position, but it was the right decision. Now, intriguingly here, guys, the first timed lap there by Norris and Hamilton was in the low 40s, a 40.2 for Norris and a 40.4 for Hamilton, whereas Max Verstappen was a 41.5, George Russell a 40.4. So Max Verstappen maybe potentially made some setup changes to his car for this weekend, and it hasn't played out for him, as the Red Bull is definitely not looking the quickest car. It is definitely between the McLaren and the Mercedes, so we'll see how they get on for the remainder of this race. But wow, 23 laps remaining, guys. Lando Norris in P1, Hamilton P2, Verstappen 9 seconds back from Lando Norris and 6 seconds back from Lewis Hamilton. George Russell closing that gap on Max Verstappen, as Max just seems to be losing time. He's only done 3 laps on this set of intermediate tyres, and it seems to be that he is struggling, and Max is no slouch in the wet weather conditions as well, guys. So something not right with that Red Bull this weekend, as he is considerably losing pace, as George Russell gained 8 tenths on Verstappen that lap, and Verstappen lost 1.5 seconds to Hamilton and Norris. But of course, Norris and Hamilton are also very good in the rain. So yeah, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting at this stage of the race, guys. Hope you're enjoying the stream. If you are enjoying the stream, guys, please hit the like button. We have over 52,000 individual views for this stream already, so a big, big thank you. 7,500 of you here in the stream, and only 1,200 likes. Come on, let's get that to 1,500. And I need 17 more of you. 15 more of you to hit that subscribe button, and we will get over 27,000. That'd be really appreciated. Really appreciate the support, guys. And yeah, we're building a great community here, and I hope you're enjoying it as well. So I can see the chat going up and down, but yeah, focusing on trying to provide some great commentary for you all, as there is a lot happening in this race with 22 laps remaining. As Verstappen is reporting, tyres are degrading a lot, and I think that's a carryover from what we saw on the medium compound tyre in the dry. So that's definitely a characteristic of the Red Bull at this Silverstone circuit this weekend, which is unlike the Red Bull. Normally it's been so good on its tyres. Big thank you. Look at that, 27,033 subs. Much appreciated. You're all absolute legends. 27,033 of you are legends. 34 of you are legends. So yeah, big thank you, guys. But let's get back to this race, shall we? So Norris in P1. He has regained the positions on Russell and Hamilton. Of course, when that weather came down, we had that sprinkle of rain, didn't we? We had that sprinkle of rain, and that's what allowed Lando to catch up to the Mercedes drivers. But at the moment, 3.2 seconds. So Norris and Hamilton are lapping around the same amount of time. 41.3, 41.5. There's about 2 tenths between them at the moment. Of course, not entirely sure what's happening. Hamilton radio. The rain is going to last for another 6 laps at least. As Hamilton said, there's no more rain. There's no rain anymore, mate. Interesting, interesting. But we definitely have a fight for P1 and P2. Max Verstappen keeps losing time. George Russell, 41.9 for him now. As his ground, or the gains that he's making on Verstappen are starting to slow just a little bit. You can see there, Oscar Piastri gaining on Carlos Sainz. Go on, Oscar. I want to see you recover this after being shafted by a McLaren strategy team over the course of this weekend, not only in qualifying but now in the race. Come on, Oscar, you can do this. I like Sainz as well, guys, but I think Oscar Piastri deserves this after what has happened this weekend. Let's give you guys a Leclerc update and a Perez update. Well, both of them have been lapped. Yes, you heard that correctly. Charles Leclerc and Perez have been lapped. Sergio Perez started from the pit lane, was making good ground, but then the rain started to come down and they pitted him onto the intermediates. Ferrari did the same with Leclerc. They pulled the trigger too early, and, well, they were so slow. It went back to dry conditions, and then by the time the wet weather actually arrived, the intermediates they were on were already lacking grip because they were running them in the dry, and they lost about 12 to 13 seconds per lap. So yes, Leclerc and Perez down in 16th and 17th, not good for them. Let's give you a Yuki update. I know there's lots of Yuki fans in the chat. Let me know if you're a fan of Yuki in the chat, guys. Any Yuki fans out there? Let me know. Yuki Tsunoda update for Yuki. He is in P10, up 3 positions at the moment, doing very well. He is importantly 4 positions ahead of his teammates, of Daniel Ricciardo, who is up 1 position into 14. So Yuki at the moment 2.5 seconds back from Alonso, looking to chase him down. And look, credit where it's due, Lance Stroll currently 8.5 seconds ahead of his teammate in P8. So Lance Stroll going quite nicely as well. Sargent doing well. Sargent is doing well. He's not last. So Sargent's doing very well. Sargent's doing well. Is Lewis gaining? Not at the moment. He's consistently losing about 2 tenths per lap at the moment. From what I can see. We'll see when they cross the start-finish line again. That gap is 3.5 seconds, 3.6 seconds. So maybe the McLaren... So from what the data analysis was, guys, after qualifying yesterday, the McLaren was slightly slower, a little bit draggier than the Mercedes. And the rumour is that they've set up their car more for wet weather conditions. Wet weather, you want more downforce to provide you more grip. Of course, you don't want less rear wing because you want the grip for the corners. And Russell comes into the pit lane. What is this for with George Russell back into the pit lane? Is this for dry tyres? Are we seeing dry tyres come out? What is this for with George Russell? He is into the pit lane. What has occurred here? Is this an issue? Is this a strategy decision to go onto a set of slick tyres? I'm intrigued here. What have Mercedes got up their sleeve? Is he back out to the end of the pit lane? He stopped and he is not moving again. George Russell is stuck in the pit lane. Could this be a retirement for the Mercedes driver? This is not good, George Russell fans. Started on pole position today. What has happened with George Russell? I'm waiting for the TV coverage to see what has happened with George Russell, guys. And George Russell has stalled out. They've been told to retire the car. George Russell, who started on pole position today, has been told to retire the car. An engine issue has informed them that he has to retire the car for George Russell. What a shame for George. Not what we wanted to see. So at the moment, what that has done, that has promoted Max Verstappen into P3, Carlos Sainz into P4, and Piastri into P5. Well, it's promoted everyone below George Russell from 4th position up 1 place. So that will mean that you can see there, Yuki Tsunoda is now in 9th place. Albon's now taking the last points positions. Stroll and Alonso, double points for the Aston Martins at the moment. And Hülkenberg in P6, going very well where he started the race, doing very nicely at the moment, holding off Lance Stroll, who is in 7th place. But let's have a look at the times. Lewis Hamilton gaining a little bit more now on Lando Norris. That gap Oh, that gap did just drop to under 3 seconds there, but I think Lewis had a little bit of a wobble through turn 3. You can see a 42.7 for Lewis Hamilton. Max Verstappen now, good luck from him last time out, 3 tenths faster than Lewis Hamilton and 6 tenths faster than Lando Norris. But yeah, real shame there for George Russell, as he has confirmed there, retired the car due to an engine issue, which is a real shame for the Mercedes driver at his home circuit as well. That is a shame. That is a shame. Mercedes making Ferrari look like Rockstar. P3 Carlos, let's go. Yeah, he's close. Very close, that's for sure. So, guys. Oh, a suspected water system issue is what Lewis has just been informed why George retired the car. So, yeah, not what we're used to seeing from Mercedes at all. Always very good with reliability, aren't they? So that is a real shame for George. But what that has done is that has ensured that Max Verstappen now has a 9-second lead, or nearly a 10-second lead, over the next driver behind him, whereas George Russell was closing that gap on him for the top 3. He now has the freedom of knowing that there's a very large gap between the next driver on grid behind him. So, yeah, let's have a rundown of the grid as it stands after a couple of retirees. We have Lando Norris in P1. We have Hamilton closing that gap very much so. 8 tenths, 7 tenths faster last time out than Lando Norris. That gap in a space of a couple of laps has come down from 3.5 seconds to just over 2 seconds now. Hamilton getting the move on the McLaren of Lando Norris. Max Verstappen 7.5 seconds back from Lando and Hamilton. It seems that the Red Bull not quite at the races here this weekend. Not entirely sure why that is, but I'm sure, no doubt, we will find out in the post-race interviews. Carlos Sainz in P4. Oscar Piastri, after being shafted by his team and made to stay out later and not double stack, is now in P5. A good recovery from him at the moment, but yes, he should really be fighting for the win today, and it's tussling it up there with Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris, as that gap has come down to under 2 seconds now with Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris. Hamilton definitely gaining on Lando, but Zhou Guanyu is going to get in the way of Lewis Hamilton here through Maggers and Beckett's. How much time would he lose? We will see. Zhou Guanyu really needs to get out of the way here as well. He's already made about 4 pit stops today, Zhou Guanyu, but you can see there he gained to 1.7 seconds, and Zhou Guanyu just holds up Lewis by about 3 tenths through Maggers and Beckett's. Unfortunate area for Lewis Hamilton to catch the lap car of Zhou Guanyu, the Stake F1 driver. But Hamilton definitely closing the gap on Lando Norris there. So a real shame from him, as he was really gaining and could have had that gap down to under 1.5 seconds on Lando Norris, but no doubt it seems to be Lewis in a much better position at the moment on the intermediate time than Lando Norris, so we will see. It is a repeat, guys, of Sochi in 2021. Lando Norris leading, Lewis Hamilton chasing. Who is going to win this race? But it's so much more. There's so much more on offer. It's the British Grand Prix. Lando going for his first ever win at the British Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton going for a record-breaking 9th and to win his first race in 945 days. Yes, you heard that correctly. It has been nearly 1,000 days since Lewis Hamilton last won a Grand Prix race. That was back at the end of 2021. But you can see there, the gap is closing. Lewis Hamilton, it did get down to 1.7 again, but it seems Lewis Hamilton just went a little bit deep and he lost that bit of extra time to Lando. Of course, he's going to be approaching that dirty air as well. Catching with one thing, overtaking will be another. But let's run down the remainder of the grid. Nico Hulkenberg in P6 going nicely as well. He has a 3.5 second gap over Lance Stroll, holding him off quite well. We have Stroll in P7, Alonso in P8, as Stroll is 8 seconds ahead of his teammate at the moment, going very nicely. Yuki Tsunoda up into P9 with that retirement of George Russell. He is now up 4 positions into P9. Albon back into the points places positions after starting 9th and being out of position at the start of this race in P10. Magnussen up 6 positions in P11. A great drive from Magnussen after a poor qualifying yesterday. He is in P11. This could be a double points finish again for the Haas team. Really did expect them to not be very well, as Orlando touched a curb through club corner and had a bit of a wobble. There is a discernible dry line forming, guys. There is a dry line forming on circuit at the moment. But, of course, if you want to overtake, you need to go offline. So that's why they stand on the intermediate tyres. We can see that Logan Sargent up into 12th place, where he started, funny enough, going well, being chased down by Daniel Ricciardo, who's up 2 positions in 13th. Bottas up 2 positions in 14th, but he is 21 seconds behind Daniel Ricciardo. It's been a poor weekend for the Stake F1 cars. And Charles Leclerc, well, down in 15th place, guys. He's been lapped. He's 30 seconds behind Valtteri Bottas in P14. Oh dear. Sergio Perez 17 seconds further back from Charles Leclerc in 16th place after he decided to, both of those, go onto the intermediate tyres too early. Ocon in P17, and Zhou, well, he's been lapped twice in P18. And then our 2 retirements are Russell and Gasly, who didn't even start the race. So that is it for the grid. But let's jump back up to the top. Norris is in P1. He is 1.8 seconds, 1.9 seconds back or ahead of Lewis Hamilton. That gap staying around 2 seconds now. It is Verstappen has closed a bit on those two. 5.6 seconds now. He's gained 2 places. So here we go. Magnussen and Ricciardo into the pit lane. Surely this has got to be for a dry tyre. As Verstappen asked, do we stay out? And he said, yeah, you're faster than the cars ahead. Keep it going. So we'll see. Max Verstappen not out of this race at the moment, but there's definitely a dry line forming. And, well, it looks like it could be dry tyres, as Magnussen and Ricciardo think so, as they've come into the bit. As Hamilton and Verstappen also think so as well, as Norris stays out for another lap. This could be the race here with 14 laps remaining. Does this decision work? Lando Norris going 1 lap longer on the intermediate tyre. Lewis Hamilton onto the softs. He comes out. How dry is it? Can he make up the time? Surely McLaren are going to respond here. He also had to deal with a little bit of traffic as he went through the first sector. Lando Norris there as he loses a position. Verstappen has definitely closed the gap as well, as there's now 2, 3, let's see how many seconds there are as they come out. So 4.6 second gap now there is to Verstappen and Hamilton, as Hamilton also has to deal with a slow Valtteri Bottas, who will get out of his way, no doubt, and Carlos Sainz. The DRS is probably close to being enabled, that is for sure. It's very slippery in the pit lane, so drivers have to be very careful. But Lando Norris on the intermediate tyres, how much time can Hamilton do here? Can he pull the undercut off as Bottas swiftly moves out of the way? The undercut is definitely on as Piastri comes into, is out of the pit lane as well. He is now onto a set of softs, no doubt. This is it to the end of the race, unless we get a last hash of rain come through, guys. Lando Norris, how much time has he lost? He's stuck behind Kevin Magnussen, who's on the quicker, soft compound tyre. He can't get past Magnussen. No doubt Norris is going to come into the pit lane here. Hamilton stuck behind Carlos Sainz. There's no DRS to assist him in getting past Carlos down into turn 15 either. And no doubt Carlos Sainz is going to be getting into the pit lane as well. Hamilton is closing. And this could be the difference here. This is going to be very tight between Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris as they come into the first corner. How much time is Hamilton making? He's definitely going quicker. He was 1.4 seconds quicker than Lando last time out in the first sector alone. You can see there a 38.8 compared to a 39. Compared to a 38.4, so 1.4 seconds. Here they go. They're coming out of the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton, they're going to be side by side as they head into turn 3. The 2 British drivers, and Lewis Hamilton regains the lead with a brilliant undercut by the Mercedes team. And it is now full throttle to the end of this race between the 2 Brits, as this race has flipped on its head once again, as Lando is out in P2. That decision to stay out a lap longer for Mercedes to pull the trigger a lap earlier has put Lewis Hamilton into the lead. You can see there a purple first sector for Lewis Hamilton. He also has the benefit of having an extra lap of warmer tyres, and he is now in the ascendancy to win this British Grand Prix with 13 laps remaining. Lando Norris 2.5 seconds behind. Max Verstappen 4 tenths back. He is on the hard compound tyre, Max Verstappen. So a difference in strategy there for the Red Bull team. Will that pay off? Will the soft compound tyre last to the end? Have Red Bull pulled off a strategy masterclass here? And will the soft tyre last to the end of this race? You would think so, as the soft compound tyre, well, these drivers, these cars are on the lowest amount of fuel they've had, as Max Verstappen fastest in the middle sector there, half a second made. This race is not over and done with. While Lewis Hamilton, of course, it is for him to drive this home. Max Verstappen, do not rule him out. He still has to overtake Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton But a fastest lap there for Lewis Hamilton of 30.3. What is the lap time by Max Verstappen on a set of hard compound tyres? It's faster. It's 3 tenths faster for Max Verstappen on the harder compound tyre. Woo! Max has not been in this race throughout. Oscar Piastri goes quickest on a 29.9 with a medium compound tyre. We'll have to keep an eye on this time, but it is definitely going to be a showdown between the top 3. That is for sure. As Lando Norris, let's have a look at the pit stop. Was it a good pit stop by Lando Norris's team, by the McLaren team? It was a pretty good pit stop. It was just the fact that Lewis Hamilton was out for a lap longer on the soft compound tyre to Lando Norris and pulled off a tremendous undercut. But Hamilton, 2.5 seconds, 2.6 seconds ahead of Lando Norris now in P2. Verstappen looking to close that gap as DRS has now been enabled. We are into full dry racing. As Lewis Hamilton has said, leave me to it, Bono. Leave me to it. He wants to see it to the end of this race. Remember, 36% of you predicted Lewis Hamilton would win this race, and second position was Max Verstappen, and well, he is definitely gaining a lot of time in that middle sector, Max Verstappen, on Lewis Hamilton and Lando Norris. But he loses a little bit through the fast corners of the fast corner there of Stowe. So we'll see. Is the soft compound tyre? Red Bull might have gambled a bit here in regards to that hard compound tyre lasting as long as it will. But at the moment, Max is fastest on circuit. Max is fastest on circuit with a 29.6. But no, Piastri takes it off of him with a medium compound tyre. We are in for a showdown with the front 3. There is 5.5 seconds separating Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is 3.2 seconds back from Lando Norris. And of course, Lando is not going to be thinking so much about defending from Max right now. He's going to be thinking about attacking Hamilton and wanting to win this race. But if he gets his elbows out with Max Verstappen, that could benefit Lewis Hamilton with only 11 laps remaining, guys. 11 laps remaining. While you're watching this, 8,000 of you, 9,000 of you here in the stream, big thank you. If you could hit that like button, let's get this stream to 2,000 likes. Come on, guys. Let's get this stream to 2,000 likes. And if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, please do. At the top right hand of your screen, 27,100. Let's get that to 27.5. Come on. Surely there's 400 of you in here. 300 of you haven't hit that subscribe button as of yet. As Max Verstappen, he's gaining a considerable amount of time in that middle sector. Wow, that hard compound tyre is amazing through the middle sector. How is it so quick in the middle? And that is where he's gaining a lot of time. 2.7 seconds back now from Lando Norris. But that is really the only sector that he is gaining time on the other drivers. Is it enough? A couple of attempts every lap is not going to be enough for Max Verstappen. But, well, of course, if he's close out of Magnussen Beckett's, that is what matters, as Lewis Hamilton had a much better last sector there, 24.4 compared to Norris and Verstappen. Importantly for Hamilton, he is 5.5 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen with 10 laps remaining, guys. We're into the last 10 laps of this race. Lewis Hamilton is your leader from Lando Norris in P2, Max Verstappen in P3. There is 5.5 seconds separating the top 3. Piastri in P4 should be in this battle, but unfortunately was hung out to dry, shall we say, as it was raining on the slick tyres, and McLaren decided not to do the double stack, and that is why he is down in 4th place. Still good for him, as he is 10 seconds ahead of Sainz in P5. A great race thus far for Nico Hülkenberg in P6 for the Haas team, as they are looking, as Magnussen is trying to chase down Albon for that last points position, but looks like it's too big of a gap, so no double points finish at the moment for the Haas team. Lance Stroll and Alonso in 7th and 8th. A good performance from the Aston Martins, as they've kind of been very understated this weekend. Sonoda in P9, and we have Albon in P10. Logan Sargent going quite well in P12. Ricciardo in 13th. Bottas in 14th. Leclerc in 15th. Perez in 16th. Ocon 17th. Zhou 18th. And we have 2 retirees of Russell and Gasly. But we can see there that we have Lewis Hamilton had a slower lap there, a 29.7 for Lewis Hamilton. That gap is now down to 2.1 seconds with Lando Norris, as he took out 3 temps on Hamilton in that last sector alone, with Verstappen closing down the gap. He's gaining every single time through that middle sector on Hamilton and Norris, and he set the fastest. He was 6 tenths faster than Hamilton last time out, and well, Norris refused the brand new medium tyres that were available to him, and Lewis Hamilton looks like he also refused a hard compound tyre as well. He wanted to be on the soft. 8.5 laps remaining, guys. Lewis Hamilton 2.3 seconds back from Lando. Of course, catching is one thing, overtaking is another. We have seen here in the early stages of this race how drivers were caught in a DRS train. It was difficult to overtake, and the lead driver was really able to manage the pace. So Max is catching, but will he have enough to be able to get past Lando? So Max Verstappen, let's see how much he takes out of the middle sector here again. Not as quick, a 35.867, but it is quicker than Norris and Hamilton, importantly for him, and that's why that gap now is 2.3 seconds between Max and Lando. 2.1 seconds between Norris and Hamilton. Almost identical intervals there between the top three drivers, and none of them yet able to get into the DRS. A 29.6 for Lewis Hamilton, a 29.7 for Lando Norris, a 29.37 for Max Verstappen. So he is gaining, he's chipping away at that time, but is it too much for him to not be able to have an opportunity on Lewis Hamilton? I think he might be able to have a go at Lando, and we know how that ended last week, but that could play into Lewis Hamilton's favour. Let's see. 7.5 laps remaining, guys. 7.5 laps remaining. Let me know who you think is going to win this race, guys, in chat. Do you think it's going to be Lewis? Do you think it's going to be Lando? Do you think it's going to be Max? Let's see. Let's see. Who do you think? It all depends on if this soft compound tyre can last to the end. Red Bull have banked on the soft compound tyre, losing its performance and dropping off a cliff. We will see as Max Verstappen is on the hard compound tyre. He's not even on a set of mediums. He's on a set of hards. So we'll see. We'll see. Oscar Piastri going quick as well, 29.2, but he's so far back from everyone, which is a real shame for him, as he could also be adding to this. This is a 35.5 for Max Verstappen. That's 4 tenths of a second taken out of Lewis Hamilton there in the middle sector alone. That hard tyre is very grippy through the middle there, as Lewis Hamilton remains 2 seconds ahead of Lando Norris, but Verstappen slightly eking into the time of Lando, 2 seconds back. Lando no doubt will be looking ahead, but he will also be keeping an eye on his mirrors as well to see where that Red Bull livery car is. Russell supposed engine problems. Yes, it was. It was. Lots of people saying Lando, 104 wins to 7-time world champion. We'll see. We'll see. We've got 7 laps or 6.5 laps remaining to find out if Lewis can hold on to this race. A good lap time from Lewis last time out. Slightly faster than Norris. But Max Verstappen is gaining on Lando here. You can see he's 1.4 seconds back from Lando Norris now, as Lando's losing time to Lewis Hamilton. 1.46 seconds back, Max Verstappen is. He'll be within the DRS, no doubt, as they head down into Stowe Corner. The amount of grip he's got on that hard compound tyre compared to Lando's softs. But we know that Lando is going to fight this hard. Could there be further contact between the two friends? They've said they've sorted it out off circuit, but that will be tested, of course, again the following week here at Silverstone, as we predicted. But at the moment, it's not necessarily for the win. It's for P2. But Lewis Hamilton will be hoping that those two cars fight it out for as long as possible. Thank you, Mark. Much appreciated. Thank you for the 5. As we head into the 6 laps remaining, how much time did Verstappen gain on Lando there? Not a lot through the middle sector. So now, as we said, catching is one thing, overtaking is another. How much will Verstappen be able to gain on Lando now he's within the dirty air? In the free air, it's all well and good having that extra grip, but it very quickly disappears once you're in the dirty air within that 1.5 second range of the car ahead. And I think that's what Lando has struggled with. He's been trying to push on with Hamilton, while not necessarily in the dirty air. He's been in clean air trying to go for the win, rightfully so, but that's allowed Verstappen to catch up with him on a brand new set of hards. But you can see here, 1.1 seconds now, Verstappen on Lando Norris. Unlike the Red Bull Ring, it is a bit easier to overtake here with the DRS, so we'll see how Lando is able to defend from Max, as he's just outside of the DRS now, as Norris is 2.8 seconds back from Lando Norris, from Lewis Hamilton, and it's getting back even further. And this is what Lewis Hamilton wants. He wants Verstappen to be held up by Lando here. maybe Lewis is just holding on to a bit of tyre as well for the end of this race. We will see. And just managing this soft tyre, ensuring that he's got enough to defend from a charging Max Verstappen. This is where the dirty air really comes into play through Maggotts and Beckett's. And Max Verstappen is just outside the DRS. He wasn't close enough. He will have DRS next time around down the hangar straight. That is for sure. Big thank you for all of the donations coming in. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Kataro. Thank you, Texas. Much appreciated. As Verstappen is gaining but he loses just a little bit on the exit of Stowe Corner there. You could see that gap got under 1 second, and it's just gone out over it again. But it reduces under braking into Val and through Club Corner, and that gap to Lewis Hamilton, importantly, with 5 laps remaining, is 3 seconds back. Can Lewis Hamilton win this British Grand Prix? Can he break the all-time record of wins? He's 9th at Silverstone, 3.1 seconds back now. Let's see if Lando is able to defend from Max Verstappen as they head down into down the Wellington Straight, down into Brooklands. If he can hold him off, this will help Hamilton dramatically as they go down into Brooklands, and it seems that Max is not able to get past Lando into Brooklands, and that will help Lewis just a little bit longer. But we know obviously that Max has the drive. He's only 4 tenths back. Will we have a go through Copse Corner? It is wet through there off the racing line, so no doubt he probably won't. So he'll be stuck behind Lando through Maggotts and Beckett's. There's a bit of traffic coming into play as well. This will help Hamilton with the DRS. 3.4 seconds back now from Lewis Hamilton. No doubt this will be an easy pass for Max. He just needs to be patient. DRS is open, and he will be able to breeze past Lando down into turn 15. Let's see how easy he makes this. You can see the interval there, and Max Verstappen gets past Lando Norris comfortably into turn 15, Stowe Corner. He is into P2, and he now has the rear wing of Lewis Hamilton in his target sights with 4 laps remaining. Who knew? Who would have thought that Lewis Hamilton would be on course for potentially winning this race today? Who would have thought that Max Verstappen would be on course for potentially winning this race today? I don't know why the data has decided to freeze right now. No! Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? No! Sort yourself out, please. Why? Why? No! What is going on here? What is going on? Right at the end of the race, they've paused the data. I'm not entirely sure what's occurring. I'm going to have to restart it. I do apologise. No! What is happening? What is happening? Stop it! Come on! Why is it so delayed? Here we go. We're back. Apologies. Why did it freeze? Why did it freeze? So we know there's no love lost between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. There is only a few laps remaining. 3 laps remaining as Lewis Hamilton is approaching some lap traffic. He's hoping that they'll get past him pretty sharpish here as we are normal service resume, guys. Normal service resume. Not entirely sure why that happened. But if you could hit the like button, let's get this stream to over 2,000 likes if you can. Nearly 8,500 of you in here. Do apologise that we had an interruption there in the interim, as we have 3 laps remaining. Lewis Hamilton 3.2 seconds ahead of Max Verstappen. He has some lap traffic to contend with as he heads through the loop. He will get, I think, DRS assistance down the straight. Perez needs to be very, very smart here and not do anything stupid to help his teammate. He can't do that. It'll be against the rules. He doesn't, as he swiftly gets out of the way. No DRS activated for both of them. 2.5 laps remaining. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen fighting it out for the win. We haven't said that since 2021, guys. Wow. What is going to happen here? Has Lewis got enough left in his tyres? Max Verstappen is on the hard compound. Does he have enough grip, enough differential in those tyres, enough delta to gain on Lewis Hamilton? We will see as they head through Maggotts and Beckett's. Daniel Ricciardo is going to get out of the way of Lewis Hamilton there. He's caught him at a nice little time. He won't hold him up like Zhou Guanyu did a few laps ago when he was chasing Lando Norris. But wow. Only 2 more laps remaining, guys. Only 2 more laps. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button. Get that number at the top up to 27.5. It'd be much appreciated. Let's get the likes to over 2,000 as we have 2 laps remaining. That gap is staying at 3 seconds. Oh, Max Verstappen gained just a little bit on the exit through turn 17 there, but it's not enough. Lewis Hamilton 2.8. We are on the penultimate lap of this race. Lewis Hamilton is leading the British Grand Prix from Max Verstappen in P2. The Red Bull hasn't looked at the races here this weekend, but with a great strategy, with a great few calls by the Red Bull pit crew, by Max Verstappen himself to pit onto the intermediate tyres when he did, to use the hard compound tyre at the end here. He is on a charge for the win with only 1.5 laps remaining at the British Grand Prix, and further extends his championship lead over Lando Norris, who is in P3. George Russell unfortunately retired due to an engine issue in P19. But Lewis Hamilton, who started on P2, is coming through Copse Corner, 2.7 seconds ahead. He has 1.5 laps remaining through Magnussen Beckett's. Magnussen and Sargent are up ahead. Magnussen chasing down Sargent after making another pit stop there on the soft compound tyre. He's gained quite a considerable amount on Logan Sargent, actually, in this last stint as well. Albon, I've missed that. Albon has got ahead of Yuki Tsunoda in P9. So a good result for Albon, who's regained the position back into P9 there. But 2.7 seconds is the gap to Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. No cars separating them as it is. Max can see Lewis. He can see the rear wing. There's 1 lap remaining. 1 final lap for Lewis Hamilton to win the British Grand Prix. It will be a 9th record-breaking Grand Prix. He has only 3 sectors remaining of this Silverstone circuit. He is a master here. He loves it here. A number of people were expecting him not to win another race at Mercedes again. And well, there is still half a lap remaining. Max is trying everything that he can. 2.3 seconds. There's nothing left on the table for Max Verstappen now. He is using every bit of tyre life he can in those hard compound tyres, as Lewis Hamilton has 2.3 seconds as he heads through Luffield for the last time. He does have the Haas and the Williams car of Sargent and Magnussen up ahead, but I don't think he's going to catch here as they head down through Copse Corner. Of course, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton have rich history through there, but no side-by-side action this time around, as Max is gaining every single time. If he had a few laps remaining, I think he might be able to do it. Through Magnussen Beckett's, he heads down the hangar straight as Max Verstappen gets within 2 seconds. But it is only a few corners remaining for Lewis Hamilton. It's been 945 days since Lewis Hamilton last won a Grand Prix. He is the most successful British driver ever. He is the most successful F1 driver ever. And it's been a very long time. We thought we might not get a swan song for Lewis Hamilton in his Mercedes career, but he is the British Grand Prix winner. Lewis Hamilton from Max Verstappen has won a record-breaking 9th Silverstone British Grand Prix. Oh my God, Lewis Hamilton, who would have thought it at the start of the season that he would win a race in that Mercedes? Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Oh my God. Unbelievable race, unbelievable drive from Lewis, unbelievable drive from Red Bull and Verstappen. The strategy by them was unbelievable, but Hamilton, the experience shone through. Mercedes making some very good pit strategy calls for once in their life, and Lewis Hamilton has won his first race in 945 days. 2021 is when you have to go back to for Lewis Hamilton to have won his last race. He had his old nemesis, Max Verstappen, chasing him down as well on much fresher, much longer lasting hard compound tyres, and he got it done. Lando Norris, commendable in P3. It was in his hands, but just fell short. If the track conditions stayed wet, I think Lando would have won this race. The car was more suited and set up for the wet weather conditions, but still a good race nonetheless by him. A good recovery from Oscar Piastri, but we have 2 Brits on the front we have 2 Brits on the podium. We have Lewis Hamilton on the top step for the 9th time at the British Grand Prix, and well, unfortunately for George Russell, down in 19th position. What a day it would be to be at Silverstone, eh guys? What a day. Lewis crying. I never thought we'd expect this. I didn't expect this. I really didn't expect this. Bono saying, I have been waiting for this. Jeez. Jeez. Yeah, Lewis is crying. Lewis is crying. So much emotion. What a drive. Unbelievable drive. Silverstone, eh? What a circuit. What a circuit, guys. What a circuit. I just want to say a big, big thank you to everyone who tuned into the watch-along today. I'm so glad the data sorted itself out at the end. But, wow, Lewis Hamilton is your 2024 British Grand Prix. He extends his record of the most wins in F1 ever. And he has set a record on his own of being the most successful driver ever at a British Grand Prix. 9 wins now. 9 wins. And, well, Lewis Hamilton now can end his career with Mercedes on a high. He can go away with a win. And, yeah, unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. Good job, Max. Yeah, it's a 5th consecutive podium for Merc and 2 wins in a row. Oh, he's 2 wins in a row. Yeah, yeah. Lewis did a lot. Verstappen, the absolute go. He was very good there at the end, Max. Yes, charging. A few more laps, he would have probably had Lewis. The soft compound tyre. Like, yeah, great strategy calls by Red Bull to get Max back into this race. They weren't the fastest car here this weekend. The Mercedes was. And it still feels weird to say that. But some great strategy calls. Going onto the intermediate tyre at the perfect time. Got them back into it. And then going onto the hard compound tyre rather than the soft was genius. Absolutely genius. Because if he was on the soft, he wouldn't have made up the time, I don't think, on Lando and Norris. So, yeah, very, very good pit calls by the Red Bull team. And, yeah, Norris potentially made a mistake there at the end. He refused the medium tyre. He had a brand new medium to use, or he had a used medium to use, and he refused it. Or maybe it was the hard, but he refused it. And potentially that could have got him the win, because he was much closer to Hamilton and didn't have that much gap to close up. So, yeah, we'll see what they have to say in the post-race interviews on that. But what a race, guys. What a race. Lewis Hamilton. 33% of you who guessed Lewis Hamilton would win this race were correct. You were correct. Lewis Hamilton is driving into the pit lane with the UK flag held up high. And, yes, for the 9th time, we are seeing that image, and we'll see that image of him on the top step. But Oscar robbed, I agree, Jay. They made a very poor decision, McLaren, not to double stack. Very poor decision. Thank you, Taco, for the $5 Canadian dollars. Much appreciated. Thank you, guys. Yeah, if you haven't, we are only a few away from 2,000 likes on this stream. Hit that like button. Go on, you know you can. And if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do. I've seen a number of subscribers come through. There's too many to say thank you to, but I just want to say I appreciate every single one of you. We are growing this stream. We are growing this channel. And I appreciate... I think we hit 10,000 viewers there. Right at the end. We hit a peak of 10,000 viewers. So my second most successful stream ever. That's all thanks to you guys. So I'm glad you enjoyed the content. We'll be back in, of course, 2 weeks' time. That's the end of the triple header. What a way to end a great triple header. Who would have thought when we entered that triple header, we'd be coming away with 2 Mercedes wins and one of them belonging to Lewis Hamilton. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, it should be Lewis or Max, the driver of the day. I swear to God. Well, let's do it, shall we? Let's do driver of the day. And it's a shame Kevin Magnussen wasn't able to convert a position. But yeah, let's do it. I think I've got a funny feeling who might be driver of the day. Let's see, shall we? Who else should we do? Who else? I think Piastri earns a mention, actually, because I think Piastri's done well. I wouldn't say Lando deserves driver of the day, but let's see. Let's see. But wow, what a drive from Lewis. What a performance from Mercedes all weekend. Shame that George Russell couldn't be up there as well. But yeah, it was a topsy-turvy race, guys, wasn't it? It was a topsy-turvy race. So, and yes, lots of people have been saying he's washed. He's too old. He hasn't got it anymore. That is what Ferrari is getting. That is what Ferrari is getting next year. He's still got it. It's just the drive. It's the mentality up there. There's one circuit and there's one Hulkenberg driver of the day. He's done well. I wouldn't say it was driver of the day. He's finished best of the rest. Leclerc effed up. Perez effed up. George Russell's out. I wouldn't say Hulkenberg was driver of the day. He had a good drive. I wouldn't say it was driver of the day. But yeah, the fact of it, Mercedes have had, like, I mean, what a step up from Mercedes. What a step up. Ferrari obviously got issues and they need to figure things out. As Lewis is hugging his dad, he's crying within the helmet. So big hug for Anthony Hamilton, Lewis's dad, and Lewis there. Very emotional, obviously, time. So, but at least Lewis goes away knowing he's won a race with Mercedes in his last year, and the mentality as well. As I was saying, people were called him washed. People have said he shouldn't be going to Ferrari or whatever. Look, there's a mentality thing, and there's one race that he would definitely be up for, and it's the British Grand Prix. So, Haas gained 20 points in 2 races. Yeah, done well. Merck's comeback must be studied, and has Red Bull fallen down? So the intriguing thing with Red Bull is that they got themselves back into this race today, primarily due to the changing conditions. If the conditions stayed dry, I still think Lewis would have come out and won it eventually ahead of Norris, because the only time he lost those positions was because George started to lose his tyres. I'm pretty sure of it. It was his tyres started to fall off because he pushed too early. Lewis overtook him because he made a few mistakes. It's before it just got wet. And then Lando Norris ended up overtaking them both because they both made mistakes through the first corner of it getting wet, the two Mercedes drivers. So the McLaren was definitely set up for the wet. The Red Bull was struggling throughout on tyres. They were just struggling throughout. I don't know why, but the time, that is just the nature of a great team. It's not just all about the driver or the car. It's also about the guys on the pit wall making the right strategy calls, bringing them in at the right time, giving them that tyre advantage to get them back in a race. And that's exactly what Red Bull did with Max Verstappen today. Was Russell leading Hamilton when he was forced to retire? No. Russell was P4 chasing down Max on the intermediates, and then he had to retire. Norris doesn't deserve the car. I disagree with that, Jay. I disagree with that. The McLaren this weekend was definitely set up for wet weather conditions. I'll be intriguing to hear their actual interviews after the race and their assessments of it. But the data after qualifying suggested that they were a little bit more draggy than the Mercedes. So in dry conditions, they was always going to struggle, which they evidently did in that first stint. Mercedes were putting out a gap. But then as it started to get wet, and then they went onto the full intermediates, Lando and Piastri just pulled a gap out on the Mercedes drivers. And then the fact of it dried up again is then when we saw that gap close and the race flip on its head again. So yeah, McLaren took a gamble on their setup by the sounds of it. But look, it nearly paid off for them. So, 78% of you, 79% of you overwhelmingly say Hamilton. I would never have guessed it. I would never have guessed it. Oscar got screwed over. I agree, he got screwed over. I don't know why they left him out there for one lap longer. They refused to do the stack up, the double stack. Mercedes did. And look, the second driver in is always going to lose out. But he lost so much time. He basically got taken out of the race by him staying out there for one more lap. They should have double stacked, and he still would have been in this race and still could have maybe got a... You never know. He was on the medium tyre there, had a fight with Verstappen at the end for the last podium position, and Lando's in second place, and they've got maybe a double podium position, McLaren, rather than a third and fourth. So yeah, McLaren's screwed up there with that decision by Piastri, and I think it definitely had a knock-on effect later on in the race. Thanks, Neil. No worries, buddy. No worries. No, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you're just discovering us, we've been doing these all season. I've been doing them since last season and the season before, and I really enjoy doing them for you all. I hope you enjoy the commentary as well. And yeah, I just love F1. Of course, I'm a Lewis fan. I'm a British fan. I'm British. But I just love F1. And I just want to see great racing. And I want to see great races like that. And look, it would have been buzzing to see Verstappen go at Lewis Hamilton at the end there as well. But yeah, it's I'm happy Lewis won, of course. So yeah, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. I think it is. We have a week's break now. It's the end of a triple header. We then go to Hungaroring, Spa with a double header, and then we have the 4-week summer break, which is going to be interesting as well. Trust me, we're going to have a lot of driver movements occurring in that 4 weeks. So silly season is definitely going to be silly, to say the least. Verstappen was close to taking over after Ferrari dipped. Yeah, Oscar needs to be having a chat with his team. I agree, Aaron. There's a point now where he has to step up and go, why did you not double stack us? What was your decision there? You've just hung me out to dry. It's only because I'm quick round here that I got us back into P4, but we could have had a double podium there. He got screwed in qualifying yesterday as well. It's not just this race. He got screwed over big time in qualifying. They sent him out too late. He couldn't prep his tyres. He was rushing around to get to the finish line. He almost did a Charles Leclerc. So Lewis Hamilton he's being interviewed by Jenson Button as well. That's cool. Says he can't stop crying. Great race and even better with your commentary. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Scott. Yes, I don't know how many subs we had this stream. I think we've had, once again, over 500 subs. So I just want to say big thank you to everyone who's discovering this channel for the first time, everyone who's subbed, all you returning viewers. Hey, over 2,000 likes as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And just continue to support this. And we're only getting bigger and better. And we hit 10,000 viewers, peak viewers, for the second time this season. And the second time in my channel career. So, yeah, big thank you. The fact of it, see all you regulars come back in. And it's... I was sitting on the sofa beforehand with you guys chatting in chat before. It puts a smile on my face that look, we've got a great community going on and we can share our love of F1. Good luck this weekend. I'm in the Dutch team. Oh, you're with the Dutch team, are you? Yeah, Wednesday I think it is. Wednesday. Should be a good. Well, I say it should be a good game. England's been very difficult to watch. So Mercedes will not show up to the podium, man. But yeah, I think, look, Lewis Hamilton, statistically the greatest of all time. He's been going through it, obviously, difficult at Mercedes. His head's been down. But if there's one race he was going to get up for, it was this. And the fact of it, he's won. And look, George Russell retired. He wasn't good enough. Even with Lewis, he made the conscious decision to push and get out of Lewis's toe. Break the toe from Lewis. And it hurt him at the end of that first stint. And yeah, Lewis was able to overtake him before the weather came down. So, but that's where experience shines through. Max Verstappen able to deal with those sort of changing conditions as he did in Montreal as well. Lewis able to do it here. Obviously, Montreal, you could argue Lewis should have been fighting for that win as well. If it wasn't for obviously a poor qualifying, being out of position, and then they favoured George because he always had track position. But you see the experienced drivers, the cream rises to the top in these conditions, I always say. And that comes in the form of them being able to drive in these conditions, but also to make the important decisions as well. And yeah, we saw that today with Lewis, Verstappen. Norris made the right decision at the end. So they're in the cool-down room. Let's see what they've got to say. Max and Lando in there at the moment. Lewis will be joining them in a second. Tyre strategy messed up Montreal. Yes, yeah. So thank you, Bevo. Much appreciated. Yeah, thank you, everyone. I always appreciate the compliments. It's always nice. So another poor showing from McLaren Lando. Piastri the only prior today. It wasn't a poor showing from Lando. No. Lando refused a harder compound tyre at the end. I think they said they had a medium available. But yeah, they're just watching some replays. Are they going to say anything to each other? Not really much being said. They're just talking about the weather. Lando obviously really upset. But yeah, not too much being said between them. Thank you, Beth. Much appreciated. Thank you. Hamilton's last win ever? Bold claim. No, I don't think so. Lando's been in F1 for 6 years. He's still making rookie mistakes each year without mental growth. I disagree. I think it was until the last stint where I think the last stint was where he fell down. Just that tyre choice. It was just a poor decision. Supposedly they left it up to him, and he refused it. He went for the soft, but the soft just fell off too quickly. If he stayed on the hard, if he went onto the hard or the medium, he definitely probably would have caught Hamilton, I think, or had an opportunity of closing that gap for sure, because Lewis's tyres were falling off towards the end. But you can see there, look, Max's last lap was a 29.0 and Hamilton's was a 30.1. So that's what Lando could have had at the end of the race to Lewis, but he went like for like. So, yeah, sometimes it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't. Thanks, LSK. We won't have any of that here, Downforce. We won't have any of that down here. Look, drivers are allowed to share their emotions as whether they're angry, happy, sad, you know. So after their group, do you think Max and Lando agreed to not move under braking? Max didn't even defend against Lando early. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Obviously, we're not privy to those conversations. But I think the reason he didn't is because defending at Silverstone is a lot harder when you've got a tyre delta. So Lando was starting to gain, he was starting to push, and Max was struggling on his tyres. I think that was quite evident. And yeah, there's just no point fighting. There's no point losing more time than you need to, especially early on in the race. There's a long way to go. There's weather that was... They knew at some point it was going to rain throughout this race, and you can get yourself back into it, and that's what happened. If Max decided to fight Lando unnecessarily there, he might not have been an opportunity later on to recover to P2. So, thanks, Daly. What happened to Russell? Yeah, so it was a water issue or something. An issue with the water hose or something to the engine that forced him to retire. So yeah, why put them in that room? I know. There wasn't any... Bono's on the podium with him as well. Bono's the one up there accepting the Constructors thing. Constructors trophy. But yeah, not much talking between Lando, Lewis and Max when they were in there, actually. Which was interesting, so... Bro is ignoring you like a politician. What did you say, Sylvia? What did you say? I haven't seen what you said. I apologise. There's lots of stuff coming through the chat. So if I miss a comment, I apologise. Feel bad for Sargent. P11 again. Could have P10. Yeah, it's a good performance from him. Good. He's had a couple of good, decent ones. Much better, but too little too late for Logan Sargent. Too little too late. I mean, like, what happened to George Russell? Yeah, he had that engine issue. To be honest, closer races are better for F1 than Verstappen Hamilton dominance. Yes, it is, yeah. That's what we all want. Like, I don't want pure dominance from one single driver or team. I mean, if there's dominance from a team, I at least want there to be two close drivers to have a fight, you know. But we've been devoid of that. But yeah, we want close races. That's what we want. So, Sylvia, you said the real winner is Netflix here. They're going to milk out this race. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I think that was one of the best races we've had this year. Wouldn't you say? What's been a better race this year than that? I think, where do we have some good fights? Austria obviously was only good at the end last week, wasn't it? I'm trying to think what else has been interesting. Canada was very good. I think Canada was a great race. I think that's got a good shout. I think Canada and that are the two best races we've had. I would say. What would you think? What would you think? But anyway, let's decide. What would you rate that race out of 10, guys? Oh, they're giving the proper trophy as well. The proper trophy. So the gold one. Canada and Silverstone. I agree to it, yeah. Great minds think alike. 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. This is the best race so far. I saw Gasly pit exit at lap 1 and noticed DNF lap 10. He didn't start, Eden. No, he didn't start, I don't believe. Thank you, Zap. Thank you. Poll for race rating. I can do that, yeah. I'll tell you what, we'll do that. Let's end it. 1,200 votes. 78% of you said Max Verstappen was Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton was driver of the day. Shock. Race rating. If I can spell. We'll talk about Carlos Sainz in a second. He had a bit of a quiet race. Didn't really go well, did it? So I can do 1 to 2, I think. I don't think... No, I'm not even going to put 1 to 2 because no one's going to go 1 to 2, are you? Let's be honest with you. 3 to 4. 5 to 6. 7 to 8. And 9 to 10. If you do 1 to 2, you're just trolling. So I'm removing that option entirely. You love Lewis Hamilton? Good. 6 out of 10, boring first half, just. Yeah, I can see that. I can see why you would find it boring in the first half. I think the thing is with most races now, the way F1 works, the start of races are never interesting now anyway, to be honest with you. Because they all realise if they can't make an overtake, especially on this set of tyres, if they can't make an overtake within like the first 5 laps of like being within DRS, they're just better off dropping back and looking after the tyres in the first stint. And then it's the first round of pit stops where the race then starts to get interesting. So I do get that, but that's... How do you change that? I don't think... I mean... harder wearing tyres or... I don't know. But then harder wearing tyres means that you're going to then get less stops and... Yeah, it's just F1. Tomorrow's another day. Congratulations to Lewis's team and the fans. Exactly. Is that our... We've had Max win. We've had Lando win. We've had Carlos Sainz win. We've had George win. And we've had Lewis win. We've got 5 race winners halfway through this season, guys. Who would have predicted that at the start of the year? No, and Leclerc. 6. Sorry. I apologise to Leclerc for Monaco. 6 race winners this season. Already. Wow. That's a different race winner every 2 races, pretty much. What a season. Of course, Max has extended his championship lead over Lando Norris. He's going to win, barring a capitulation in regards to mechanical issues and stuff with the car. But that was... Yeah, he's... Look, we've got 6 different race winners already. We were predicting at the start of the season Max was going to win every single race. F1 is in a much better place now. Much better place. I think that Lando will lose the championship. Oh, yeah, he's not going to win. Max has won that. So, 2 out of 10, TC. I see you. Don't do it. Don't do it. 9 out of 10, 64% of you. Woo! 5% of you say 3 to 4. You're just trolling, guys. You're just trolling. Changes are reverting whatever they did to the rules in the past 15 years. First place trophy. Yeah, that's the Silverstone trophy, isn't it? It was boring because everyone was overextending for the rain. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. But then beyond that, it was after that, it was really exciting. So, very few races. I would say hardly any F1 race is exciting from start to finish now. There's always a lull at some point during the race. And it normally happens in the first stint. So, Oscar was F so hard. I agree. That was a big, big F. I called that out at the time. Wasn't happy about it. McLaren threw away a double podium there, in my opinion. They threw away a double podium. So, but they also threw away. I mean, Oscar got shafted all weekends qualifying yesterday. I know I keep saying it, but they let him go out at the back of the queue. He had to rush round to get to start his lap in time. Otherwise, they would have done a Charles Leclerc and not set one at all before the timer counted down. And that just compromised him because he didn't have enough time to prep his laps. He was just pushing. So, thank you, MCU. Yeah, thank you for everyone who was subbed. I can see, look, we've got 27,325 subscribers. Unbelievable. Fast approaching the 30,000 mark. I started this year, I think, with just under 15,000. Like, I've nearly doubled that halfway through the year. So, a big, big thank you to everyone. You've been enjoying these streams and the other content I've been doing. And I've got some really exciting news. A new partner of the channel to be announced this week as well. I've got to do some editing, actually, after this. So, yeah, really, really looking forward to that. Piastri was catching Norris at the end of that first stint. He's done great work on his... Well, this is it, Warren. He was half a second behind Norris when he pitted. Now, they refused to do the double stack. Mercedes did do the double stack. And look, Piastri would have lost out. I get that. He probably would have lost out to Hamilton. But they had to do the double stack there. He ended up being half a second behind, and then ended up being a full pit stop behind Lando after one lap. Like, ridiculous decision. Absolutely ridiculous decision by McLaren there. 27, so we can have 7X. Checo and Leclerc, yes. So they ballsed up on the Ferrari. Did Ferrari things, and they just. I don't know why they rolled the dice so much with Charles Leclerc. Like, he was only behind Sainz at that point. He was P7 and Sainz was 6th, and then they ended up bringing him in too early, and it was an unnecessary gamble, I think. And now they've ended up with 2 drivers out of the points. And they've still got a Constructors' title to win, or to try and fight for. And they've thrown it away in this last 3 races. We were talking after Monaco, Leclerc could be fighting Verstappen for the World Championship. Ferrari could be fighting for the Constructors. That's definitely likely. Now, that's off the cards entirely, you'd say. So, how did the Missed Apex Live go, Carl? Yeah, it was really good fun. Yeah, we had a good turnout. It was quite an intimate setting of Formula Fast. It was about 30 people, I think it was. But yeah, really good show. Everyone got engaged as well, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to doing more, that's for sure. I know he plans on doing more. Hey, Helena! Go and eat breakfast with the fam now. No problem. No, thank you for tuning in. Do I think McLaren will beat Ferrari? Yeah, McLaren. So let's have a look, actually. Let's have a little look at the... where is it? F1. I want to see the updated Constructors, because we know that Max has extended his lead, but how is the Constructors? Because while Max finished 2nd, the McLarens finished 3rd and 4th, and Perez finished outside of the points. Sainz has picked up that extra point for fastest lap, so let's have a look. Having a look at the... where is it? Latest. Where am I looking at here? Constructors standings. Here we go. So the Constructors standings at the moment is... Oh, Ferrari are still 2nd. So Red Bull are on 373 points, guys. And Ferrari are on 302 points. We have McLaren on 295 and Mercedes on 221. So there's, what is that, about 80-something points between Red Bull and McLaren still. Ferrari are 7 points ahead of McLaren. And then, of course, the drivers, Max has just extended his lead to 255 points to Lando, who's on 171. So, but yeah, right, let's sit here, shall we? But wow, what a race. I didn't expect... I really didn't expect him to win. Really didn't expect him to win that race. Really didn't. Piastri now ahead of Perez. He is indeed, yes. Piastri is now 5th. Carlos Sainz is 4th. Charles Leclerc is 3rd on 150. So Max has a comfortable lead, doesn't he? And he'll probably see that to the end of the season, barring he has like 2 or 3 races in a row where he doesn't finish. Even then, Lando kind of has to win them, doesn't he? Lewis Hamilton now up into 8th on 110 points. George Russell is 1 point behind George Russell. He's on 111. So, bet Ted's having fun with his notebook. Yeah, I'll bet so. Leclerc's so unlucky after Monaco. He has been. Yeah, he has been. So, Leclerc made the call and Checo got called in. Oh, did Leclerc make the call, did he? Oh, well, if that's on Leclerc then, if he made the call. I didn't realise that at the time. Yeah, that was a poor call. So Leclerc has rolled the dice then, and it's just massively backfired. How many times did the lead change like that? So the lead changed from George Russell to Lewis Hamilton, so that's 1. Then Lewis Hamilton lost the lead to Lando, that's 2. Then Lando lost the lead to Lewis again. So there were 3 changes for the lead. Yeah, 3 changes for the lead, and then yeah. But there was a lot, like, it was up and down, wasn't it? Like the top 4, top 5 were very chop and changing throughout kind of the whole race. So, Will Lando win the championship? No. He's like more than 3 race wins behind. So he needs Max to not finish a race or outside the points for 3 races. And he needs to then win them. And then he'll still be like 10 points behind, something like that. So yeah, he's not going to be winning that, barring an absolute capitulation of the Red Bull team, which I don't see happening. So, but the constructors is definitely up for grabs, that's for sure. Especially when it's just Max, and Perez isn't scoring points, and Max isn't winning every single race now. The constructors is definitely up for grabs. So, Lewis won. I'm so happy. I waited for a whole 2 years. Finally, the day has come. Actually, it's been 945 days. 945 days since Lewis Hamilton last won a race. And that's now 0. Now 0. So, should Red Bull replace Perez? A big fat 100% yes. Good question, guys, actually. In chat, who would you prefer to take the position of Perez at Red Bull? Who would you like? I think realistically, it's 3 drivers. It's Lawson, Ricciardo, and Tsunoda. Out of those 3, who would you prefer to see in that Red Bull seat over Perez? I'm intrigued to see your thoughts. Am I happy with Lewis won? Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'm massively happy Lewis won. Thank you, Scott. Great stream. Totally enjoyable. Thank you, Daisy. Ricardo, Scott. Sainz. You think Sainz? Sainz isn't going there while Josh Verstappen's there. That's for sure. Max and Josh. Amazing race. Happy for Lewis. Would George have got on the win? If no, Mike. No, I don't think he would have done. Because he already lost the position to Lewis before the wet weather came down, and that was due to him eating his tyres too early, I think. I was worried that he was doing that. When I saw him putting out the gap on Lewis, I was like, is he eating his tyres too much? Lewis is just biding his time. And yeah, there was a point before the rain came in, Lewis was starting to close that gap. And then I think George had a slight lock up somewhere, or he went deep into a corner because he's struggling with grip, and Lewis overtook him. So yeah, I think Lewis would have won that race over George if George was still in it. But who's counting, right? But Lawson isn't ready. You think Lawson isn't ready yet, Scott? Interesting. Lawson is your choice. Yuki. I personally would like to see Yuki. I think he's worth an opportunity. I think he's about to be in his 5th year at the junior Red Bull team next year. Like, give the guy a chance. Like, that's the whole reason why your team is there. If you're going to keep him on, give him a promotion if your second driver isn't performing. So, but we know why Perez is there, don't we? So they want to keep Max. Yeah, exactly. He seems to be the better driver than Rick. Yeah, he finished ahead of him today. So put Lawson in with Ricciardo to learn from and give Yuki a go. Well, to be honest, I'm sorry, Ricciardo fans. I think he's had his day. And I think that junior team needs to go back to being what it initially was set up for. Promoting the future of Red Bull drivers. And look, you've got Isaac Hadjar at the moment, who's leading the F2 Championship. He just won the feature race in F2 earlier on at Silverstone. He's also he's been fighting up front in F2. He's been doing the practice sessions as well. I think promote him. Like, come on, that's the whole reason why you've got that junior team and you've got that junior setup and you've got a junior academy. Like, Ricardo's had his day. Yep, thank you. You're a great servant. You're a funny guy, but you're just not doing it anymore. Who will win the next race? Lando, Max, Lewis, or George? Well, we head to the Hungaroring, and, well, it's a track that Mercedes have always gone well at. Correct me if I'm wrong, the last 2 years, did pole position go to both Mercedes, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton? Am I wrong there? So I think you'd have to say Mercedes are definitely looking strong for the Hungaroring where we head to next. And then we end with Spa before the summer break. I am ready, even with Sargent keeping the second RB. Anyone but Perez. Sainz a proven winner. He would, yes. However, Mike, so I spoke to someone yesterday at the Missed Apex Live event. Who's a former Red Bull employee. And he said There's no way in a million years they will ever have Jos Verstappen and Carlos Sainz Sr. in the same garage ever again. Or Carlos Sainz, like, because there were proper fireworks, like people having to be pulled apart. Like apparently Carlos Sainz Sr. and Jos Verstappen had to be pulled apart numerous times when they were teammates. And also, I don't think they'd want the wrist out. I don't think that relationship has healed as much as people would say it has. But yeah, Carlos Sainz would be a much more closer competition to Max. I'm not saying he would beat him. I don't think he would, but they don't want someone in there who's as good as, like, who can win races, basically. They want someone who can just, like, mop up the rest of it, you know? Hungary has always been the best track for Lewis other than Silverstone, so I believe. Yeah, I think Mercedes were good there the last 2 years. I think they got pole position the last 2 years. So we also know why Bottas was Mercedes for so long. Yeah, he was brought in. He was also brought in. Yeah. First time for you, I'm a good host. Oh, thank you, Mister. Thank you, Miss. Sorry, MPD. MPD. I try and be as subjective as possible. Look, of course, we all have our biases, and I do lean more towards obviously the British drivers, and I support them first. But I love racing, and I'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt as much as I can. I assess what I see, and I'll tell you if I like it or not. Simple as. So, yeah, and I will just say, and I don't want to go over old ground, but the FIA have just come out and said we should have penalised and we should have given Max a warning last week for moving under braking. Now, I'm sorry. How many people said he didn't? The FIA have come out, but I'm just saying, like, I will say what I see, whether you can agree with it or disagree with it. But yeah, that assessment has just been justified by the FIA themselves. But too little, too late, eh? Too little, too late. No good doing it a week later. Or letting us know a week later. Very excited for Hungary, especially Aston already figured out their problem and bringing major updates to their problems. Oh yeah. Also, here's another story for you. You're getting this exclusive right here. So Hungaroring is where we head to next. Do you guys remember when Sebastian Vettel finished second to Esteban Ocon in that crazy Hungary race where Lewis Hamilton was the only driver to line up on the grid? That was the race Esteban Ocon won, and Vettel came second, but he had to stop the car because he didn't have enough. He didn't have enough left, and they had to take a fuel sample. And it turned out that obviously he got it removed. So he got the podium removed. So they came out and Lawrence. Well, I got told Lawrence, the owner, Daddy Stroll, was telling them over the radio, you get that car back no matter what, even if it stalls, like when it comes in, like just get it. We'll deal with the fuel later. Get it across the line in P2, which is what they did. So they got all the fuel lines out and they put it into a container of some sort. I don't know what container it was, and they have to have a litre fuel to test at the end. And the guy who was withdrawing the fuel from the car knocked the container, the fuel sample, over, and that is why they weren't able to test it, and Sebastian Vettel got his podium position removed and he got disqualified from the race. So they had the fuel sample, but they were obviously getting it out of all the lines, and supposedly up and down the track, down the paddock, they called it the floor sample because obviously it spilled all over the floor. So a little bit of a funny story for you there. Bottas got that seat because Toto was also his manager. Yeah, that's true. But Bottas was also doing really well in the Williams. Remember that statement is from a different team of stewards. Yes, but it's more so race control. Race control were the ones who deemed that they should. I think, look, don't want to dwell on it too much, but they definitely put the entertainment value over the sporting aspects last week, didn't they? Because it's been so long since we had a wheel-to-wheel fight, and I get it. We want to see racing. We want to see wheel-to-wheel racing, but we want to see fair racing. And last week just crossed that line, in my opinion. And I think, others who are obviously stewards as well have come out and said the same thing in regards under the FIA banner. So, hope Charles Leclerc wins the Hungary GP. Yeah, I mean, Ferrari's a tricky one. I don't know what's going on there. They reverted back to their Imola spec. So they brought a massive upgrade to Barcelona, like 8 new parts, like all around the car, and they went back to Imola spec for this race. God knows what's going on with Ferrari at the moment. We'll see. Stroll's best race for taking everyone out. Let's not have stewards with the same nationality as driver in the incidents. Yeah. Oh, that's a tricky one because there's so many different nationalities on the grid just. So that's going to be a tricky one to have. It's not like football where, of course, you've got 2 nationalities playing. So you could have, like they do in football, obviously they have a neutral team of referees. So I think it was the semi-final for Spain and Germany was the English team, wasn't it, that was refereeing. But in F1, of course, there's so many different nationalities. Like, how many stewards are there that are going to be totally impartial to that? But I'll be watching how you reacted when Lewis passed Lando after the stream because I screamed that high. My mother came. Yeah, I need to go back and listen to myself as well. I hope the commentary was good. I'm always listening back to myself to see where I can improve as well, guys, and make it a more enjoyable experience for you. So, FIA Max history equals shoulda, coulda, woulda. I have to agree with that, yeah. There's a lot of... since Max came into F1, a lot of it has been hindsight, hasn't it? We should have done this. We could have should have done that. And it's like, well, okay, learn from that and then implement it the next time it happens, whether it be Max or another driver who does the same thing. Don't just let it happen and set a precedent to let it occur. You're going to hope that Charles wins the Hungarian GP, unlike Mercedes FIA bull cheat. Disagree with they're not cheaters. They're not cheaters. Is Lewis in trouble next year? I don't know. I don't think he is. Obviously, they've. I'm really intrigued to see what's gone wrong with Ferrari, but yeah, there's definitely a lack of performance there. And then because of that, they're also making poor mistakes again. They're creeping in regards to strategy, but no, I don't think so. I think, look, he's so happy that he's won that race. He goes to Ferrari. He's still ending his year. He's still ending his career on a high with the 3 most historic teams ever in F1: McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari. What a CV to have! And I'm sure he'll win races. He'd love to win a world championship, but if he doesn't, he's still got 7 of them. And yeah, he can go out on a high saying, "I won races with the 3 most historic race teams ever." So Charlie sorely misses a race director. I agree, Warren. Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, they're usually 2 different drivers in an incident. Just choose a steward with a different nationality. Not that hard. Yeah, but it's... They all kind of assess it together because there's a lot of data and things that they have to run through at the same time. The problem is not even necessarily the stewards themselves. This is it's the fact of that race control, the race director and his team, they pass on incidents to the stewards to review. So the stewards may sit there and go, "Oh mate, I can't believe he's just done that. That's a penalty," but they can't act on it and actually award a penalty or a warning unless race control passes that down to them to assess. So it starts with race control, and race control obviously were in control of that race, as they always are, and they wanted to see the racing, and we got racing. But as we said, there's a line between it being hard and fair, and it was hard racing, but it was across that line of being fair, in my opinion, with the moving in the braking zone, which you can't do. So I think Ferrari makes mistakes due to pressure. I don't think so much pressure. I think it's just they make mistakes when they're not performing well. They try and like overcompensate for when they're not doing well. That's kind of my opinion, my assessment of Ferrari. The big fact is that there have been 5 different winners this year. 6 actually. We worked that out earlier. There's been 6 different winners, and we're halfway through the season. 12 races in. Corner race before. Oh, thanks, Tom. No, I've just winged this. I just wing it. I've always been a very talkative person. So, funnily enough, the missus recommended you should do watchalongs. This was a few years ago, and this is just kind of how I've always done them. So yeah, and I've just improved over time, just fallen into it really, and I enjoy doing it. That's the thing. I really enjoy doing it. The reason Lewis is leaving Mercedes was due to the disrespectful contract. It was. Yes. Yeah. I saw them try and bait Lewis into, oh, well, if you had this Mercedes car last year, would you still be at Mercedes? Would you not be moving to Ferrari? And he was like, I'd still be moving to Ferrari. And it is because of the contract that they wanted to give him. It was a year plus year. They didn't want to give him an ambassadorial role. I think they wanted to cut back on the amount of money they were fronting up for his organisations that he has off of circuit, his charitable organisations, and they've quite evidently been caught in Max Verstappen, haven't they? Like the CEOs and stuff have been coming out saying how good Max is and things. So it's like, okay, yeah, you can see why he's moving on. You can see why. And of course, Kimi Antonelli as well. They're quite openly having a look at Kimi Antonelli, wanting him to get into the seat. So yeah, I can see why he moved. And it's Ferrari. He's not moving to any other team. He's moving to Ferrari. And they're fronting up all that money and they're giving all of that support to him. So yeah. And they'll earn a shed load of cash as well from signing Lewis Hamilton. Like he's one of the few. There's very few sports stars in the world where you say their name and you know who they are, like outside of their sport, or you at least know what they do. So there's like Ronaldo, Messi, you have Neymar, you've got LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods. Like these guys, Lewis Hamilton. These are guys who are no one's ever bigger than the sport, but their name is known outside of their sport. People who don't watch the sport will know who they are. So, and that you sign someone like that, you're going to earn a shed load of cash. So, he's also leaving there clearly we didn't want to get. They want to get Kimi in. Yeah. So, moving under brake is no longer in the rules. It's now basically can't make dangerous situations. It's open to interpretation. So you should have a steward with no stake at all in the game. No, I get it, Just, and I agree, in an ideal world, yes, but it just doesn't work that way. It's just not feasible. It's just not feasible, unfortunately. Thanks, Mrs. Stuffeyy. Yeah, great advice. She is my muse. She is my little producer. So yeah, she does. She supports me. She supports me doing this really well, and I couldn't do this without her. So not necessarily approval, but just her support. So she is really supportive and just go and stream. You should do this, you should do that and stuff. And I love that. So as soon as Lewis left Mercedes, Tommy Hilfiger and Puma are leaving Mercedes. So this shows that Lewis, of course, yeah, a driver always brings sponsors. That's always been the case in F1 and always will be. There are drivers on the grid who are signed for commercial reasons. Sergio Perez brings a shed load of cash in sponsors. His biggest sponsor is, we've spoken about it before. Is it Telco? Is Telco the name? The communications company? Like, is it, what's the guy's name? I can't remember the guy's name. Oh, who's Sergio Perez's biggest backer? Owns Telco. Is it Carlos Slim? Carlos Slim, he's like a billionaire. But you look at the sponsors Sergio brings in and the merchandise, he's there for commercial reasons and to keep their number one driver happy. Then you've got Zhou Guanyu has Chinese backing, Chinese sponsors. He brings supposedly £30 million with him in sponsor backing. So he's not necessarily paying for his drive, but it's like, if you sign him, we'll bring X amount of sponsorships to you. And that's a lot of money for people to turn down. So, there should be more permanent stewards. I think so. I am a big advocate of permanent stewards. Yeah, I think so, because at least you should get consistent rulings. Now I know people have always gone, well, it's about the biasness. What about if people are biased? And it's like, yeah, but you can say the same thing about referees. You can say the same, like in any sport, like you have the same referees all the time or whatever, and there could be bias with them. At least you'll get a consistent ruling on things, and you know, okay, I'm not gonna be able to get away with that because they're consistent on not like doing this and things. So, Oracle, no, Telco, no, Oracle are different entirely. Perez didn't bring them in. Is it Telco? Telcel. There you go, Telcel. Carlos Slim. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he's a billionaire. And he brings in a load of money. So, I know for sure we wouldn't be. We shouldn't have iRacing B licenses as stewards. That's a fair point. Stewards should be past drivers because it will provide more reality from POV of drivers. I disagree with that sometimes. I don't think you need to be a former professional to be able to rule and interpret the regulations and enforce them. I don't agree with that. Like football, you don't have to have played the game to know tactics and to know how the game is played and stuff. It helps to an extent. That's why the current setup is that one of the stewards, there's 3 stewards, one of them is a former driver so that they can kind of give a perspective. But ultimately, a lot of it is black and white with what you're ruling on. A lot of what they're ruling on is black and white and should be enforced. Or like given a warning and stuff, like the moving under braking and like the moving over and things. And it's like, yeah, he may, like Max last week, like he didn't have the intention to hit Lando. Of course he didn't. But he had the intention of squeezing him. And he'd already made one defensive move. So he's moved back over, but he actually didn't get penalised for the moving back over to the left. What he got penalised for was the not leaving enough racing room. He didn't leave a card's width on the outside of the race circuit. Now, I saw people say he could have taken to the curb. The curb isn't the racing circuit. Lando is under no entitlement whatsoever to move onto that curb to avoid Max. And Lando is thinking at that moment in time, I want as maximum grip as possible to swoop round the outside of turn 3, which is a very viable overtake move at turn 3 in Austria. But ultimately, Max has just misjudged it. Maybe thought Lando might have moved out of the way, but you're talking minimal margins anyway. And I think Max has just slightly misjudged it. And because he obviously wants to maximise his entry, his racing line into turn 3 to get the best grip for him and exit as possible. And they made contact. But that's like, yeah, you can see what Max was intending to do, but ultimately didn't leave enough room, and that's why contact was made. So that's pretty black and white, same as like moving under braking and things as well. A lot of it, I get obviously wanting the interpretation of former drivers, but more often than not, you don't need that when ruling, enforcing rulings and regulations. So Sergio might pull with Daniel Kvyat and Yuki might put off Verstappen. Professional race officiating team would be best. I think so, Quick, but yeah, they haven't done that, have they? So no, he got penalised for the contact, not having space. He had space on the curb. Well, he got penalised for the outcome of that contact. Yeah, but the reason the contact occurred is because he didn't leave Lando sufficient racing room on the outside. So if Max would not have moved to the left, they would have touched on the exit. Not necessarily. No, not necessarily, because there's more room on the outside of the corner. So Lando asking, should we have won the race today? Yes. Am I going to be happy? No. 2021 was really one of the lowest points for me the entire year. It was an offence. Max is a great driver. Yeah, well, that's just an indication of them prioritising entertainment value over sporting elements of sports, the fairness of sport. So, yeah, Oracle's the biggest sponsor, followed by Carlos Slim. Okay, yeah, Oracle's contract was like 500 million over the course of 5 years, I think. Like the biggest sponsor ever in F1, I think, sponsorship package. Dude, he would have overshot the exit. He would have gone 50. Have you ever raced the Red Bull Ring before? Have you ever raced it in sim racing? Have you ever made an overtake on the outside? It is such a viable overtaking opportunity. And Lando had the grip. He was on fresher tyres as well. That would have been he wouldn't have shot through him. No, definitely not. Yeah, I know that, buddy. I know that. But you're wrong. He would have had a viable overtaking opportunity of going around the outside of Max. It happens all the time. In sim racing, in real life motorsport, that is a totally acceptable overtaking opportunity, and Lando would not have gone long there. He would not have gone long. And he had more grip, so he has more braking capability as well. And that's why he wanted to stay on the racetrack and not brake on the curb, because he wants to maximise the grip that he has available to him to go round the outside and stay on the tarmac. He could have gone on the curb, but he would have sacrificed that drive and that grip with having 2 wheels, not on the grippy tarmac. So, like, I get it, but he would have had it slowed down. The inside, yes, he overshot a few times because he was trying to force Max into something. He was trying to catch Max out, and he did go over, and he did overshoot it. So he couldn't move because he would have locked up. Yeah, he would have locked up if he was on the curb. You've done it in sim racing as well. You brake on that curb, the wheels lock up. So he was braking on the tarmac. That's why he didn't move over. He wouldn't have overshot it. That's why Lando didn't move over. I think Jolyon Palmer assessed it that way as well. He said the reason why he hasn't gone onto the curb is because if he went onto the curb, he's right on the edge of braking anyway. He's trying to get the edge on Max and drive around the outside. He would have locked up a wheel and a tyre, and he would have lost that advantage and lost ground on Max. So yeah, but yeah, you can brake on the curb, but you can't brake as late as what Lando did on the curb. He would have locked up. So that's why he decided not to move. But he wouldn't have locked up if he stayed on the tarmac, which is what he did. That's why he didn't take avoiding action. But anywho, that's what I'm saying. And I stand by it. Obviously, you can have your assessment of it, but that's my assessment of it. But anywho, I'm going to call it a day, guys. I've got a podcast to do later on as well. I have the Missed Apex show. It's going to be an interesting one. We've got plenty to talk about. Where the race was won and lost, no doubt. I don't think there was really any... Whose fault was it? There was no incidents in this race, was there, guys? It was a pretty clean race. We had no yellow flags, no safety cars, even with the changing conditions. What's going on here? But it provided, obviously, a Lewis Hamilton win. So, yes, his first race win in 945 days. Wow. He's now a record winner at Silverstone. 9 record-breaking wins. And he extends his record, obviously, the most wins ever in F1. But yeah, I want to say a big thank you for everyone for tuning in. Have a lovely rest of your Sunday. I'm now going to go have a nice roast dinner. And have a nice... I'm going to have a nice pear cider, actually. I'm going to have a nice cold brew. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed. And look, this is what I love about these watch-alongs. We can have a debate. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And we can have a back and forth. I love talking F1, guys. I love talking F1. And I'm glad that you guys love watching me commentate it and experiencing it as well. So, Albon got slammed at the start. Oh, yeah, we can do that. We can do that. I'll be sure to include that, Warren. Yeah, whose fault was it? So, yeah, I'll see you on Track Dust. Lando's interview was a rough one. Yeah, no doubt. Well, he's lost a few races this year, Quick. He has lost a few races. McLaren definitely could have won that race today. I think so. Would have been close at the end if they went for the harder compound tyre. But I'm going to go assess the data, and I'll have some surer opinions of this race later on for the Missed Apex podcast. If you aren't familiar with it and you want to listen to a good podcast and you want to hear more of me, tune in to YouTube tonight, the Missed Apex F1. Link for that is in the description below, or you can find us on the Spotify, iTunes, Acast, the other podcasting platforms. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your evening, guys. Thank you for all the subs. Thank you for the donations and the super chats as well. Big thank you, guys. Love you lots, and we'll be back for the next watch along in 2 weeks' time when we head to Hungaroring. But I will be live this week with some special content. We've got a new partner to announce on the channel, and I can't wait to share it with you all. So yeah, have a lovely one, guys. Bye.